Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of September 23rd,
Yes.
2024. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by local access programming and with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here recording tonight's meeting? Not seeing anyone. We'll continue. I hereby call the meeting to order at 6:33. I'd like to have a roll call of members here.
Jim Foran.
Brendan Doyle.
Kate Thompson.
Mike Greco.
Josiah Birch.
Mark Mungem. Okay, so first item on the agenda is mail orders. I'd like to wait on that and take that later in the meeting. Meeting minutes. We have meeting minutes available from June 3rd, 2024. Has anybody been able to take a look at those minutes and can comment on them? Matt, have you looked at them?
I have one.
All right, well, we'll put those off till the next meeting then. If you have a chance between meetings and can take a look at those, please take a look.
I took a look at him.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
I'm sorry, Josiah, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Would you have any comments on them?
Nope, no comment.
No comments. So they look good, in other words?
Yes.
Okay. All right, based on Josiah's review of the meeting minutes, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 3rd?
So moved.
Second.
Yep.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Jim. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you very much. Next on the meeting, on the agenda, Open Space Committee, 77 Mumford.
Mr. Chairman, what we learned about that was the signs previously were done by town meeting warrant article. So we've since asked the Open Space Committee to produce some estimates for us, which they are yet to provide. Until we get estimates, we won't know how much and which article to go for at town meeting.
So what you're saying is there was a special article on the town meeting to pay for the funds for the
That's our
signage?
understanding, yeah.
Okay. All right. And you said you asked them for an estimate?
Yep.
If they could produce an estimate?
Yep, they'll try to reach out to companies, try to get estimates.
All right, so,
Until those are received, we could take this off the agenda, it's up to you.
well, just so I understand, I mean, this is Conservation Commission land, correct? So why is the Open Space Committee being asked to do something in regard to Conservation Commission land, and why wouldn't Conservation Commission be the one to research and find out?
The commission would like to, more than within your rights.
I mean, I don't mind the Open Space Committee doing it, but I don't want to request it of them and make them do it, kind of thing. And we have other sites. I mean, do we not have, the Conservation Commission does not have any kind of a way to be able to pay for this?
Doesn't seem to.
That's what I'd like to discuss sometime, is how we can create a fund for the Conservation Commission to be able to do work on trails, to do work on signage, to put out a map or a plan of conservation land, do things like that, I think, for the betterment of the town and with what we have.
Okay.
What avenue should I take to look into that, or what should we take to look into that?
I could do some digging, try to find out for you. Sarah, could you make
So-
a co-host, please?
So we are waiting on them to
Yes.
produce the process.
Open Space is going to look into the cost to do the signage for the 77 Mumford Conservation Land, but we also have another site that is requiring a sign. And so I just want to look into, we shouldn't have to go to Open Space to do our signs, in my opinion. I think the Conservation Commission should do its own thing. I mean, that's me personally. I don't know how you guys would feel about that, but I want our Conservation Commission to be active in the lands, not just be out there, sitting there, and with no one really being active in publicizing this land that we have.
Makes sense.
I think it's a good idea. Have a budget, establish something yearly.
Agreed.
Okay. So Matt, I think based on a consensus of the Conservation Commission, we would like to have you look into some funding mechanism for the Conservation Commission to be able to do that.
Okay. Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mike. Motion's been made and seconded to request Matt to look into how the Conservation Commission can receive or have funds available to be able to promote the conservation land. All those in favor?
Jim Farn, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. All right, moving on, item off number 4, discussion on U Street, 13 U Street.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll take that one.
All right, thank you, Brendan.
Okay, this is for the Keeney residents. There was a complaint, came in, let's say it was a week before last, because I visited the site on 9/11 and met with the Keeneys, and let me bring this up on Zoom. I have a picture, kind of a big picture diary for you here. The complaint is that the new owners, the Keeneys, are doing, they have a horse paddock beyond the approved limit of work for this house. Done some well, they're keeping the horses down there, and they built a lean-to, little shelter for the horses. And if you can see that, this little paddock pasture right in here is what was approved with the original plan, and I have the original plan too, if you need to see it, but this fence right here represents the limit of work for the original project. This is an oak tree right here, and in the plan, it reads that there was a nail and tree for their ground control for the elevational survey. I was able to find that nail on the tree. So it gave me a pretty good frame of reference for where I was. So as you can probably imagine, down here, we're at the bottom of the hill where it's flat is where the wetland is. So I was, based on the location of this tree, I was able to figure out that this fence is more or less at the 50-foot no structure setback associated with the original order of conditions, which means that everything beyond it is done without pre-authorization from the Conservation Commission. So I told the Keeneys that I didn't see a way forward because, excuse me for putting words in your mouth, but I didn't see the Conservation Commission allowing horses in a previously forested area in the wetland to be allowed to stay. And what they needed to do was to cease and desist, pull up the fence. They have a electric fence just on the portable green electric fence posts, and to disassemble the lean-to over here on the right-hand side, which they did almost immediately. And I got confirmation today through pictures that it's all gone, and This fence here on the left-hand side is gone, the lean-to has been taken out, and that they are now more or less in compliance for that. My recommendation at this point is to, and here we are, this is Samantha and Mrs. Keeney right here. Leave the area alone. Just, that's my recommendation anyway. I don't know if it's your recommendation, but I will give the Keeneys credit for doing what they needed to do and being compliant with my request. No enforcement order needed, I don't think, unless you think different.
So you said that the area had been treed. Do you know, is that,
Hey, Brandon, I'm here. I'm one of the Keeneys.
Yeah, could you come?
It's been
Come on up.
forested since we've been there. We bought it in 2022.
Would you
can you
mind
come
coming
forward?
up?
You need to state your name and address, please.
Oh, I got a seat. Sorry.
Yeah.
First time here.
There you go.
So yeah, we moved up from Nebraska. It's looked more or less like that since we bought it. Previous owners had horses. We're looking to someone to sell who also had horses, so it worked out well for us.
Point of order, can you just state your name and address for the record?
Yes, David Keeney, 13 U Street.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's all I got.
So when did you buy it? You said 20?
In August, yeah, 2022. Good old COVID home shopping.
Okay. And you said at the time that you bought it, it was, as it exists now, it had already been cleared and there was a paddock in that area?
Correct. Yep, fence is original. The T-posts, the green posts we talked about were added to electrical fence. It's, like you said, it's been removed. We understand that's, we were in the wrong, just no one had told us, so we did what we could to fix it.
Okay. Based on Mr. Keeney's statement and the fact, or what he says, that they didn't purchase the process till 2022, and at that time it had already been cleared, then I think we certainly cannot hold them accountable for any of the clearing and/or make them restored in any way. So I would say that
Well,
that work that they've done in terms of removing the lean-to, and as you said, just leave it alone, I think that's fine with me.
I agree.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Keeney.
Thanks for the share.
Yep.
I mean, need a vote or you could?
Thanks for coming in.
No, I don't think
Okay.
we need to vote.
Okay.
Yeah, we rarely get someone that jumps to it like that. It was very impressive, so I thank them for doing what they did.
Yep, thank you.
Did you want to do 14?
All right,
Bob's not here yet, so. Oh, he's not?
we won't do it then.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is item number 5, another possible enforcement order, 206 West Street. Is that yours too, Brandon?
That's Mr. Benoit's.
Okay.
I believe the owner is here. Yes, if he wants to come up. So previously, on one of our previous agendas, I had brought this up as a potential enforcement order violation, but I had reached out to the owner, and then he was putting together his RDA application, so we gave him until this meeting to put his application together, and I think he has it with him right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we plan on submitting it for the next meeting, but when you were requested for tonight, we'll make sure we have it ready for us.
Okay, so if you'd like, I can pull some pictures up.
I got some printed out too, if you want to see.
Okay, that works. Give those to the chairman.
Yeah, you can pass them around, that's fine.
All right, well,
This is May 23, that's a few weeks ago.
okay.
As Matthew told us, we were unaware, obviously, we couldn't clear weeds and some overgrowth and so many feet of the creek that's behind the property. In all honesty, total ignorance, just didn't know, didn't play with the creek, didn't do anything with the creek. We just cleared what was previously there. When we were purchasing the home, the owners had horses and they grazed them down there. And from what we were told, when the husband had passed away, it was just all overgrown, not maintained. And as the pictures show, that's pretty much just what we did, was weeding pricker bushes, pokeweed, which from my veterinarian wife tells me is toxic to horses. So we made sure to cut all the pokeweed out and stuff like that, but our plan was just to plant grass, didn't cut any major trees down, didn't move the riverbank, didn't do anything of that nature, so.
Okay.
I guess this is more of a case of ask for forgiveness and guidance in the future. The first photo was taken May of '23, about 2 months after we closed on the property. And from poking around today, I think the Google Earth map, if that's what you're looking for, and the Google Maps was the same. I think it was updated May 23rd of '23. So that picture should be pretty on point with what's it on the old Google there. But I think my picture shows it probably a little bit better than the aerial view on Google.
Probably.
Matt, how'd this come to our attention?
The building commissioner told me about it.
Okay.
So
There's a window like this in the trees that you could really stop.
That's all I have.
That's all you need.
We had some neat Adirondack chairs we put down there to enjoy the listening to the creek one evening, and I think that was what spotted it through the tree line. So
So what are we looking at here on the map?
This is the area right to the southeast of the house. This is the area in which the clearing was done. But you can tell there's some vegetation there. I mean, not much, but some of it was cleared out, and this is the tree in the middle of this photo.
yep, you can see there. And again, prior to us, that's what it looked like when we moved in as the first photo.
This one?
Yep, yep.
And where's the creek on the Google?
You can't.
It's right behind right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll say on our second photo, you can see it a little better. But prior, it was all covered with briars and just weeds and overgrowth and stuff.
So is this how it looks today?
Yep, that was about 2 weeks prior to when Matthew contacted us.
So it has not been seeded as of yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. And you may not have the details, but what are you planning to seed in this area? Do you have a,
Basically just what's dirt in that area, just a flat area.
and just a grass seed mix or a meadow mix or?
That's
Victoria
veterinarians.
Ruaca, the other owner. It's a mix of fescue, alfalfa, and timothy. It's basically a mixture for a horse pasture.
So it's like a pasture grass, yes, yeah.
There
Okay.
is some grass naturally growing there, but very spotty.
Can you just state your name and address?
Victoria Ruaca, 206 West Street.
Thank you.
Do you have horses?
Yes,
And will you be grazing horses in this area?
I was hoping to, yes.
Do we know how close this is to the river?
It's, I mean, within 15 feet on one side anyway. It's really tough to say. It's kind of right along the edge.
The tree measures over 100, the tree in the middle, if that gives any like reference point. But it does run like right alongside.
There's some Adirondack chairs back there in the picture.
Those were the bullseyes. That's how they notice it.
And is that where the river is back
Just-
there?
just
Just
behind it.
beyond there?
Just behind it, yep.
Okay.
You can kind of see the embankment just behind the chairs.
All right.
Would you like some historical perspective?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
So I think we would be concerned, I would be concerned about pasturing the horses too close to the river. So to try to maintain a setback from there, and then any kind of structure that you were to put in would have to be permitted through us.
Yep.
I think it would be important for you to go ahead and move forward with getting the ground seeded, because we're in a good time period to do that now, and the later it goes, the less germination we'll have and the less coverage we'll get before winter, so.
Yep, that was our plan. As soon as Matthew contacted us, it was off limits.
Right, right, and here I am telling you, you need to get going on that because it's September 23rd.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yep,
this is a picture from the 1990s. The stream is right here, this darker strip
What stream is that? I'm sorry.
Is that
This is
the-
West Street.
Mumford River.
It's the
Mumford,
Mumford?
yeah.
Okay.
It's the Mumford,
The mighty Mumford.
yeah. So this circle zeroes in, I think, on the area that's of concern.
Nothing below the creek.
Right, nothing down here,
Yeah.
it's all in
Yep.
this corner. So then we fast forward to 2001, and voila, it is now developed. Then we go to 2005, and it looks like that. 2008, now it looks like that.
Looks like
2011,
between 2005 and 2008, there was some work done there.
right.
Looks much more open.
2013, 2019, 21, you can see it's starting to grow back, 23, and that's the most recent aerial we have. So, yeah, it was sometime between, 01 and 03, 05, rather.
Yeah, started to reclaim.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see this as an enforcement order beyond that we want them to make sure it's stabilized. And then if they're going to utilize that property, I would want them to come before us and make a request for, if it's fencing, if it's structure of any kind. Is that okay, Brandon? Or
Yeah,
do you
we'll look
see
at
it any differently?
Once an RDA comes in, we'll look at it a little more.
That's true, he's putting together an RDA now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, under the Wetlands Protection Act, in Table 1, under any residential activity to the lot or development, no work should be done 25 feet from the,
In the wetland,
yeah, so,
right, but that's for a swamp.
okay,
Rivers are a little different,
okay.
and the state law has even more restrictions on it than that. But I have a question. Through the chair, you're raising horses. Do you have a farm where you're doing anything for profit?
No.
Okay, then it's not a farm. It may look like a farm, but under the Wetlands Protection Act, it's not a farm because in order to receive the benefit of any of the agricultural exemptions, it has to be a for-profit situation.
I was just looking that they'd be 25 feet from the,
From the swamp, but the river, it's 100 feet. Under the, what's used to be called the Rivers Protection Act until it was, which is when it was passed in '96, and then it was incorporated into the Wetlands Protection Act under Section 310 CMR 10.58.
you batting over
spit it
my
yet?
head again.
Yeah.
I just saw this here that might apply to
Right.
his.
So one of the things that I would look for in an RDA is, I'd go back to that original, probably, I'm guessing there's original notice of intent file from that, around that 2000 timeframe when the house went up between the 90s and 2001, and see what the original approved limit of work was. And that's your baseline, right? Right?
Well, it gives us some information, yeah.
Right, and then you go from there and see what the work has been done and whether it meets the performance standards and whether the Conservation Commission can then approve it.
Does that mean no grass seed this fall?
Oh, it definitely means grass seed. Oh, absolutely.
No grass seed.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, so you don't get erosion.
What are the rules if it's for profit farm?
The setback for new agriculture is 100 feet from the bank of a river.
So it doesn't matter if it's a for-profit or not? It's still 100 feet regardless?
Well, if it's not for profit, you have a 100-foot no-touch zone, and then between 100 feet and 200 feet, you can use 5,000 square feet or 10% of the total square footage of the riverfront area on site, whichever is greater.
All right, thanks.
I'm sure you're right, you said that way too confidently. I believe you.
But an RDA is a good start.
Yep. But you concede it.
Okay, and follow up to that, from what you said, it's gonna be grass seeded. If it's determined not to meet the initial scope of what you're looking into from the late 90s to early 2000s, what changes then?
How far away you can have the horses and have a pasture or paddock area next to the river.
And what just defines that, just it being fenced in?
Yeah, where your limit of work is, so your limit of wherever you want to have the horses be, I guess. Right?
Not to just go clarify, if it's not fenced in and we just ride them there before we head out onto our trails that are further across the property,
Right.
make sure, just again, rules of follow, just curious what the differences are. If
so
it's not an official paddock, it's not fenced in, just a grassy backyard, can we
Right, well-
cross it, he bunches a couple grass blades and we keep moving, or?
The Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw regulates work and activities. So riding would be considered an activity
Yeah.
that could possibly be conditioned, or however you want to do it, to be allowed in some shape or form. But we got to look at what the performance standards are under the Protection Act and the bylaw first.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, answers that.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say if you're just riding horses on it, it's probably not a we can't regulate that. But if it becomes a point where it creates the ground to be barren, like a riding ring or one, something like that, then I think that would become something that we'd be concerned about.
Okay, understood.
All right. So we will look to get your RDA.
Cool.
All right.
Just with that with you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yep,
Gord.
appreciate it.
Face the name.
All right, item 6, request for certificate of compliance, DEP number 143-1085, for Jessica Bankston, 11 and 17 Potter Road.
Hello,
Hi, state your name and address, please.
Jessica Bankston, 11 and 17 Potter Road in Douglas.
Thank you, Jessica. So we have before us your request for certificate of compliance.
It'll be for a park show.
It'll be for, because it's,
Because there's still-
the plant material has to have so many years to be able to
Yes.
reach maturity, sure.
Yeah.
You're overseeing this one, Brandon, right?
Yes, I am, sir.
What do you have for us?
Sure, I'll give you the tour. To bring the new members up to speed, the Bangstons live along the Mumford River, and they did some work, did some clearing of the land, and they created a boulder retaining wall next to the river, within the riverfront area and partially within the 100-year flood zone. And they got pinched. But they played ball, and they did what they needed to do, and they came up with a restoration plan, which was brought before the Conservation Commission in the form of a notice of intent. And they received an order of conditions to do the restoration work. But because they're a farm with their raising a commodity, what were they again?
I have chickens that we raise for meat and for eggs. We have goats that we get the goat's milk and make products with. Farming and gardening, produce, soaps, body butters, shampoos, products that come from everything within the property. We had planted fruit trees, which we have since moved out of the area, which were going to be for an orchard to produce fruits to sell as well.
Right. So they're applicable for the agricultural exemptions, which means that you can have new agriculture as much as 100 feet away from the mean annual high water mark of the river. And this row of boulders that you see right here in the background marks the 100-foot point, which was one of the things that was asked for. Just pictures along the road. This area on the left here is the area that's been restored. You can't really see it in the grass, but there are little saplings that
We
are,
have since rebacked 12 inches around.
thank you, because we didn't want the grass overtaking and shadowing.
Quite the duty to find them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just giving you the tour here. Now getting down by the river. So this is the restoration area. The river's on the left. So this slope right here, there was a boulder retaining wall that went from, down here all the way up to here. They took those boulders, put them at the 100-foot mark, and they sloped the bank back, which is exactly what was asked of them to do, and it's growing up very well. So I'd say that they're doing a pretty good job as far as the construction work, but part of any restoration job is that you have to do the 2 years of monitoring to meet the performance standard, which was stated in the special conditions of the bylaw, of the special conditions of the order of conditions. There's one thing missing, though, Mr. Chairman, is we don't have an as-built plan.
No?
No.
I thought we did. Guess not.
Yeah.
I have the original survey plans
Which was for the proposal.
for the proposal of the
Right.
restoration project. I have reached out to Existing Grade, and they have us on their schedule this week to come out to do the as-built plan.
Excellent. So I'd say they're doing pretty good. Here's the river from the bridge. They're on the right-hand side. So just a couple things. I think once the as-built plan comes in, I got a feeling that it's going to be looking good, but I'll double-check it. So once that's in, I feel confident that the commission will be able to give a partial certificate of compliance for the construction work itself, and that I imagine that Glenn Kravosky is going to do an end-of-season growing report this fall, and then he's going to have to do one again in the fall of 2025, at which point they'll be eligible for a complete certificate of compliance. If all goes well.
Based on us not having an as-built drawing tonight,
Can't do it.
we can't really
Right, so
move forward tonight.
Right, so I recommend continuing this to,
October 7th?
well, it's October 7th, going to be enough time for existing grade?
I hope so.
Okay. If not, we'll just continue it to the next meeting. Yep.
All right.
And does the as-built need to be presented by Glenn Kravosky?
No, you can,
Just turn in.
No.
you can be just like this with you coming in. Yeah, no need to have him come in.
Just wanted to check.
Yeah.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to continue this meeting?
It's not a public hearing, so it doesn't need a vote. It's just carried on to the next agenda.
All right. We will move you to the next agenda, or next meeting. Thank you very much for coming in.
Oh, I want to say this too, before you leave. One of the components of the restoration area were some turtle nesting areas.
Oh, I remember that from last time.
Yeah, so there's these little sand piles.
I've since weeded those as well.
Yeah, very good. So they're going to need to continue, so I think that's a nice little habitat feature, so they're in.
It's exciting.
Yep,
No activity yet this year.
they'll come. You build it, they
Yep.
will come.
Next June, you'll see them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, item number 7, extension request for order of conditions, DEP number 143-0994, 349 Southwest Main Street.
That's Mr. Benoit.
I'm here on Zoom representing the owner and the construction lender on these two lots.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Joe Jatari. And address is 147 Hillcrest Drive North, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02921.
Thank you, Joe.
Who wants to talk about the reason for the extension? You can come.
Yeah, could you please explain the reason for the request for an extension?
We purchased the 2 lots a few months ago, and at that point in time, the order of conditions expired, I think, this week or next week, and our plan was to build 2 single-family house on each lot in the upcoming month, or start construction in the upcoming month, and therefore we wouldn't have needed the extension for 1 year for the order of conditions. Everything else we have in order with the Board of Health, septic system approvals, we have everything else in order.
Okay.
That's consistent with what I've learned about this.
Do you have a copy of the plan for this, for the site?
I don't know if they're in the file or not. Just the extension permit. File, no.
Joe, are you requesting any changes to the plan?
No.
So it's as it was?
As it was, yes. So the 1-year extension would allow us to just proceed with beginning construction, which is simply, step 1 would be just putting the well in and clearing the path to the well, and then putting the well in, and then we can get the building permit at that point.
Okay. I was on the commission when this came before us, as was Mike. There are 2 lots. They're both on Southwest Main. They both back up to Cedar Swamp. They're very small lots, and the proposed buildings are fairly close to the wetlands. They're very small houses because they just couldn't fit very much in these areas.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were approved. And I think the buildings are outside of the 50-foot buffer, which we request, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure they were. But they were very small lots, that they were tightly fit in here.
Yeah.
So I don't have an issue with extending. I mean, we did approve them. The permits are for 3 years. It hasn't happened in the 3 years, but if they want another year's extension, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Want me to make a motion?
If you guys are willing to do so, sure.
I'll make a motion to extend 1 year, no changes from the previous order of conditions from the date of the expiration.
This for both?
For both, for 349 Southwest Main Street and for 349 Southwest Main Street for both of them, DEP 143-0994.
And the other one, 335.
Oh, sorry. And 335 Southwest Main Street, DP 143-0995.
A second.
Thanks, Brendan. Motion's been made and seconded to approve both items 7 and 8, which DEP number 143-0994 and DEP number 143-0995 to provide a 1-year extension. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Is,
Signatures.
Yep.
Pass them around, okay? We'll grab one on Northern.
Should we do North Street now, or here, or?
Jeez.
Is this an eating break?
Sounds like we're done.
If you leave them here, Mike, I'm going to eat them all.
Make a
so-
motion to
Motion to eat a brownie?
wait for brownies here. Pass it, or?
Yeah. Pass them around. I got lozenge right now, so go right here.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Sure.
I'm good.
Mark didn't get any yet, though.
I'm okay for
Pass
right
them on now.
I'll just put them over here for
There you
now.
go. Yep.
No milk, no brownies.
Very good.
It's from you again, Brenda?
Technically, it's for my wife, Mark, so I can't claim any responsibility.
She's so nice, thank you.
Yeah.
That said, we're going to expect,
I told her that. She said, well, I don't have time for cookies, so
Ah.
will brownies do? I said, yeah.
take what we can get.
Yep.
Take what we can.
All right, at this time, I would like to take up item number 14, 6:30 PM, NOI, DEP number 143-11. You guys have the DEP number?
1111.
1111. Public hearing for
North Street.
North Street between Gilboa Street and Brown Road. Robert Sullivan. I'll open this public hearing. All right. Brandon, where do we stand on this?
Just needed the DEP number. Last meeting, way I was listening, everything was going well, just needed a DEP number. Let me look back at my notes. I had some recommendations for special conditions. That was about it. The special condition recommendation was to include stormwater standard 8 and 9 in perpetuity, page 7 of the stormwater report. And section 3.2, stormwater management section of the report as a special condition, which is on page 3 of the stormwater report as an in perpetuity condition.
Okay. Can we just bring up the plan, just to do a quick further review as to what everyone is voting on here tonight?
Thank you.
Waiting for me, or is it Matt doing this? I'm doing it. I got it. Sorry, I'm like, why is this so quiet? Sorry about that. Okay, here's the project plan.
Where'd this come?
That was the top one.
Oh,
It's the same thing.
And share, and voila. All right. It's quite a few sheets. Is there any particular section?
Well,
you'd like to
yes,
see?
I just would like you to show the area at the junction of North Street and
Gilboa,
Gilboa.
right here.
And, because this was the bulk of the work that we are in our purview?
Well, there's some other areas along the road.
Right, there were
But-
two other areas up the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a BVW adjacent to the Mumford, and the Mumford is right here, so you have 100-foot buffer zone in the 200-foot riverfront area. Right, so this is the 100-foot area right here, and 200-foot continues. Here's the riparian zone. It's kind of hard to see because it's kind of yellow, but it does encompass the entire intersection proper.
Right. And from what I remember, there is an existing pipe that goes towards the wetland that is going to be retained.
Yes.
And so you're tying in any new drainage up in the intersection area, correct?
Correct. And just
So-
to make a comment,
No disturbance is any closer to the,
no. You would question the 18-inch pipe that goes sufficient. That only serves the first 1,800 feet of that roadway, the first third. The other third goes to other areas.
right. Okay, and then there were, you said a couple other areas up the street which their outfalls, again, impacted wetland areas. So I just wanted a little refresher as to what we were going to be voting on. If you folks are, pretty clear on this, I wasn't. So,
So I'm not clear on the pipe size then. I mean, it's not going to be 18 the whole way?
No, about 1,800 feet up by Pond Street, starts off as a 12, the middle section
It
is a
starts-
15
So you're putting in 12?
on the,
Up to 12 up to Pond Street?
up to Pond Street. It's only the first third of the hill because North Street does not continuously climb to Brown Road, to the Sutton line. It's got two valleys. And each segment is stormwater management on its own. What you're looking at is the end of the first 1,800 feet. So you always start off with a 12-inch concrete pipe. The middle section, the middle 600 feet is a 15-inch, increases to a 15. The bottom is an 18, which connects to the existing 18.
Okay. I didn't know that.
okay. Is everyone okay on voting on this?
I just wrote down, make it a little bit easier.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so let's close, anyone want to close the public hearing? What's that?
Public comment.
Public comment.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Is there any public comment on this plan? Seeing none, you want to close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close the public hearing for Sullivan North Street between Gilboa and Brown Road, roadway and utility improvement map plot in the right-of-way, and North Street NOI.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike Greco. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the notice of intent. No, I just closed. What am I doing? I'm just getting all lost. Now we need to make the motion with conditions. So do you have those written up?
Yes, I do.
Do we need to vote to close or no?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can we vote to close the public hearing?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay, so I have the two recommended special conditions up on the board. And I'll just give you the quick synopsis. Section 3.2 is the stormwater management during construction section. which explains how appropriate measures will be implemented by the contractor to manage stormwater during the construction phase and minimize adverse impacts due to construction activities. And everything that they're proposing to do is laid out in this section, so it's just easier to tear this right out of the stormwater report and attach it to the special conditions. Okay? And the second section that I recommended is the, what we call the long-term operation and maintenance plan, which is exactly what it sounds like, how the stormwater is going to be managed, how is all the best management practices and the infrastructure going to be maintained for the life of its, existence and function. So it reads here that the town of Douglas is responsible for the operation and maintenance associated with the project. The schedule for inspection and maintenance will be in accordance with the town of Douglas MS4 permit annual maintenance program. So then it'll reference that, which will then inform the regulatory body as to what they're doing correctly and what they're not doing correctly. Sound good? All right, so those are the proposed conditions.
Along with our standard.
Along with your standard conditions, yes, sorry.
Yep.
Standard special conditions.
All right, so does anyone want to make that motion?
So I'll make a motion for the Sullivan North Street, Gilboa and Brown Road roadway and utility improvement to include section 3.2 management during construction section of the Southwest report as a special condition. Second, to include section 4.8 operation and maintenance plan of the Southwest report, of the stormwater report, sorry, as in perpetuity condition along with our standard special conditions.
The motion to grant the order conditions.
And
You said it's, at the beginning, you have to say it's a motion to issue the order conditions.
And in order to issue the orders of conditions.
Very good.
Got that?
Oh, yeah, I'm right on it.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josiah. All that motion and special conditions and, yep.
Jim
Been made
Foran,
and seconded. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Good.
Got to get the money for that?
We'll find out in about 3 weeks. October.
All right,
Been patiently waiting.
good luck.
Thanks.
You can put them all again.
We got number 9 now.
Through the chair, just for the record, name is Bob and Eric, Town of Douglas Economic Development.
Thanks.
Who seconded that?
Josiah did.
Yeah.
It's a tough night for us, I think.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Now build it.
Do you have something for us to sign?
Is that your water?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we only have one of the extensions here, or will you form this into two?
One of them already went through.
I have this one.
The one for Lot 2,
That was the extension.
335, already went through.
No, we voted on two at the same time.
Yeah, number 7 and number 8.
Number 7 and 8, we took at the same time and voted on two at the same time. This one is just for 143-0994. There's also a
0995.
0995.
This is 0995, that one's 0994. Yep,
You already signed it.
you already signed it,
When did we do that?
about 10 minutes ago.
When the brownies were being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything in the brownies?
I was just going to say, it's hallucinogenics in there. Only the best.
Is that TV tilt?
Yeah, I suppose.
Doesn't it?
You know, I don't.
Next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time.
Test it after the meeting.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious because it's a little bit, no.
Thank you.
All right.
You want me to make a motion to waive the reading?
Yep.
Make a motion to waive the public hearing meeting for 31 Glen Street, right?
Public hearing reading.
The public hearing reading.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For 31 Glen
I'm
Street.
here for 31 Glen Street.
Hold on.
You want me to come up?
Hold on.
Second.
Okay.
Wait a second.
Motion's been made and seconded to waive the reading of the public hearing notification. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Key Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Thank you.
Come on up, Lauren.
Hello.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
All right, hold on one second. I need to open it.
Sure.
The public meeting for 31 Glen Street, map 188, lot 9, Lauren Macagnano,
Close enough.
close enough, is now open. Yes, state your name and address, please.
I am Lauren Macagnano at 31 Glen Street in Douglas, and I hope I did everything I was supposed to do. I filled out all the paperwork I was supposed to, so I'm not really sure exactly what the next step is, but I'm here to find out.
Okay. All right, number 9. All right, I don't know anything about this, so if someone's got to fill us in.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, so at a previous meeting, an enforcement order was issued for this property and asked the applicant to file an RDA, which they have done, which is before you today. This was a stop work order issued in the field by Mr. Faniff when they were cutting trees down, and they stopped cutting the trees down upon that visit to the site. So I've since been out there and taken the pictures that you see on the screen. That is one of the trees that was stopped in the midst of taking it down. It's to remain in that state. They're gonna put some bird houses on it, something. It's just gonna stay like that. That was tree number 1 according to the plan. And then trees number 2 and 3 to the back of this little shed is, these 2 are down and the stumps still remain in the ground. There are some other, there's another picture of it. Those are the 3 trees in question for the part of this application. The letter from an arborist explaining that they were unsafe, that they were taken down, but they just needed to file the right paperwork with us and we'll proceed with this. So here they are with their RDA now.
Okay. Weren't there some other trees that you wanted to take down?
We did actually have a tree guy come in
Yep.
and assess the whole property, and he did actually more than the trees in question. And he did finish the job. We did want to leave the stumps for a wildlife habitat. The only trees we took down were just things that were dangerous to the property. We had a few overlooking trees in the pictures. And the tree out back with the stumps in that picture, when we first bought the property, one of the branches had fallen off of that and
Yep.
completely broken it. So that was the only reason we took those down, but we're not planning on taking any more down. Just
Oh, okay.
the ones. There were a few zombie trees, I called them, and the arms were just kind of like dangerous to people, so we wanted to get them down. And the other ones were overhanging the property, the house structure. So that was, we're not really interested in taking down any others
You're not,
unless they're
okay.
a problem.
All right.
And if we do in the future, we're going to file ahead of time and do it the right way, no matter what.
right. Okay. So, and you want to leave the stumps?
We did, we thought they would be great wildlife habitat.
Sure.
So we like all the birds, so.
Okay. I have no comment. Brandon, you have any comment on this?
My comment is that the thing that was lacking here was the coming to the commission first. So it's second, but at least she's here now.
Any other thoughts or comments from commission members?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea you leaving this, so.
You do? Have you
Yeah.
heard of that before? Because
Well, just so we don't have erosion, right?
Like the termites
Yeah.
or something like that, I don't know about.
No.
But I was thinking it would be great to get woodpeckers and stuff, so. Hopefully it'll work out. If not, I'll come ask to have them removed if I have to, but I like to keep them.
Negative.
Sometimes
Yep.
mushrooms will grow. like-
That's what I'm
Yes.
hoping. I don't see it being a
Great.
problem, unless there were like a bug infested. The only thing I could think of. But the birds will probably take care of that.
No, and you're absolutely right, that birds make their nests in dead trees, so I'm, you
Yeah,
know,
we have a lot of nice birds on
definitely.
the property, so.
definitely possible habitat, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anybody from the public have any comment on this request for determination? Seeing none? Should we, do you want to close? We okay with closing? All right. You want to make a motion to close the public hearing? Or public meeting?
You can just close it.
Oh, I can just close it. I'm going to close the public meeting, and we
I'll
can make a motion for a negative determination of applicability.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve a negative RDA 3 with the conditions they leave the stumps for 31 Glen Street, map 188, lot 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Greco. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you, Lloyd. You're all set?
Thank you so much.
Commission also wish to lift the enforcement order for this item.
Oh, yes. Good.
Do you want me to make a motion for that?
Yep, sure.
I'll make a motion to lift the, what was it?
Enforcement order.
The enforcement order for 31 Glen Street, map 188, lot 9.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to lift the enforcement order on 188, on 31 Glen Street. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you. All right. Next, I'd like, do we have to do the,
Public, yeah, okay. I'll make a motion to waive the public reading for Birch Street, map 159, lot 56.
motion's been made to waive the reading of the public notice for Birch Street. Any second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike Greco. All those in favor of waiving the public notice
Jim Foran, aye.
reading?
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Josiah.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Sorry.
That's all right.
All right, thanks. Public meeting for 4 Birch Street is now open. Is there someone here to represent this project? Nope, no one's here.
I could talk about it if you'd like.
Do you want to continue?
Well, what do we have?
Well, this is in response to our enforcement order. An RDA was filed by the applicant before we started rendering fines on this. I'll share my screen. If you recall, It's property on Birch Street. The gentleman built a set of stairs outside the buffer zone, which then ended up causing the area below to wash across the street and into the, I think it's White Reservoir. He's since done some erosion control on this side, put this down here, including some bales, try to prevent erosion from getting down. This was originally grassed area. It's not grassed yet. I'm not sure if it's to become grass or not, but I think the commission wanted it to be grass. And it's still very sandy right there on the edge, so if we get any rain event, it's gonna end up across the street a little bit. It's got a picture of that, showing the rocks on one side, keeping it away from the neighbor's property, but still very sandy base. Just across the street, we put some hay bales up here to prevent any sort of silt from getting through, but it's kind of getting through here. This is the area that was restored. I'm sorry, not restored, that where this fill was brought in. And he tried to, I guess, repair the bank, but kind of added some fill to this area. At our recent enforcement order meeting, one of the questions was, if you were to repair this, you'd probably cause more damage repairing it and bringing it back to its original state than what's currently there now. So we didn't ask him to do anything with that. But you can see it's still, the sand from the street was already getting into White Res at this point anyway, kind of before his property. It's right over here. So what is before us is talking about the steps that were installed outside the 100-foot buffer. During construction, they had an exaggerated amount of rainfall, which washed out his efforts for the stairs. Dug a trench at the top for the first stair along the driveway, filled with riprap stone. Put construction hay bales at the bottom of the stairs and across the street in front of the dock to help prevent any additional dirt washing out into the lake. Installed 71 feet of cement berm on the driveway. That's up top. I'll show that. That's important because it keeps the water from rushing down the stairs. Right here. So it doesn't wash down that way. That's really important. Since these steps have been taken, it's not had any additional runoff into the lake. The work on the lakeside, I was not going to do anything except with the hay bales, taking pictures, and had me come out to the property and photograph. It's part of the application. And submitted photos that are similar to the ones that I have in front of you on the screen. I mean, personally, I'd like to see the area beneath the stairs seeded and grassed as it was originally done back in 2006 when this originally was hit with an enforcement order because it was the driveway that was put in. They had the driveway ripped up and then reseeded, and it was vegetated. So if the commission wanted to issue a determination here, I'd condition it so that this area here is seeded with a grass mix and becomes a lawn again, so it's not all sand. This needs to be stabilized, this area here, which ends up in the street. Well, without the applicant here, you know, it's kind of tough to do anything, so.
Right. So I did have a question, though. So across the street with the hay bales, is there anything else that we can request or have them do to make a more permanent thing for that, or is there something?
All we can ask them to do is to restore it to its original state, which it was already running off.
Right. I didn't know if there was anything that we could have them do.
The hay bales are probably within the right-of-way, aren't, the road right-of-way?
Right on the road.
Yep.
Right on the road, right, exactly.
Right there in that picture.
So we would have to discuss anything we would want to do, I would think, with the town.
Okay.
You know, a berm, yeah, like a lot of times you see them, they'll create a little curb along the edge of the road to deflect the water. And then you have to be concerned about where it's being deflected to and not create, just moving the problem
Right.
further away. But that's what I would That's what I would recommend
Yeah,
that we do, or have them do.
I agree.
But then also, what Matt said, we're not going to get very far without better stabilization on the other side of the road.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I wonder why there isn't a berm there, you know? Because it rolls straight off, you know?
because a lot of the old roads in Douglas are what called country roads or country drainage, and all they do is they crown the middle and push the
Yeah.
water to either side, and where it goes, you know?
Yeah.
And so it runs off.
In his letter from June, he does, and this could be a different location that he's stating, but he does say that he's in the process of installing an asphalt berm along his upper driveway edge. Not sure if that's the exact location.
It goes in the top of the driveway. up
Got
here.
it, got it.
And it's not an asphalt, it looks like they're like paving stones.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are the, okay, got it.
Right.
yeah, that's not
Yeah.
asphalt. Would you want asphalt?
Well, this area is outside of our jurisdiction up here. Like, the edge of the stairs is right at the 100-foot buffer.
Outside of our jurisdiction,
However, it
But-
does affect it, right?
yeah, it's being presented as a way to affect it, to improve.
You can tell that any of the debris is coming right down the side here. It's not really getting through, I don't think. But, Force holes.
Matt, should we send this applicant a letter requesting that they stabilize the ground below the stairs?
Do that as a condition if we wanted to. If we want them to stabilize it as part of the enforcement order, I suppose.
I just am not, I'm just, that would mean, a condition would mean we would vote to approve this,
Yeah,
and he's not even here.
right.
So I don't feel comfortable about voting to approve it when he's not here, but I would like to get that stabilized.
Yeah, that's something we can do under the enforcement order.
And what about the berm from the town?
The
Wonder if they could-
berm, and the road,
Yeah,
I mean.
that's kind of a good, it's a really good
unless it's
idea.
Connecting to a berm on somewhere else, you know?
Yeah,
It's going to send stormwater somewhere.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but it seems like a good idea, especially in that area, you know, especially
Yeah,
what
and
you
somebody
said with the
thought it
way
was a
that.
good idea because they have hay bales there, right? And so,
Yeah.
you know, the hay bales are acting as a berm would.
Yeah. So,
You've been out there, Matt, and you've taken pictures. I mean, what is your thoughts to a berm in that area? Did you look at it in that regard at all,
I
or
mean,
no?
if this gentleman stabilizes the area below, he's not going to have that silt runoff crossing over.
Right, I think across the street is most important.
Yeah. So he stabilizes this side here, and it's not going to end up across the street like it was during the significant rain event. Let's just get the regular silt from the road. That's it.
But we could have the town or figure out something, right?
I mean, we're asking the town to fix someone else's private problem, kind of.
Well, it's our problem.
Is it in the best interest of the town to have it fixed?
Yep.
hey, maybe
I would think
take a
so.
look at it, you know.
Okay.
It's the worst thing they say, no?
One way or the other, we have to continue this because he's not here, so.
Okay.
But Matt, is that something, as part of the enforcement order?
Yeah.
Can we send a letter to him, or can you send a letter to him requesting that the area, the flat area where the former parking is, below the steps, the front yard, be prepared and seeded and stabilized prior to the, you know, sometime, give him a time frame, the next month?
Sure.
That's right. that it's almost the end of September.
And we'll just, we aren't going to close it, we're going to continue it.
Okay.
If you want to make that motion. Well, let me see, is there any public comment on this proposal?
I'm October 7th.
Seeing none. Is there a motion to continue the public meeting for 4 Birch Street?
So moved.
Is there a second to continue the public meeting?
To our next hearing, October 7th.
Oh, to a next meeting on October 7th?
Yep, motion and a second.
Mike seconded.
Thank you. He did? Okay, I
Yep.
missed it, sorry. All right, motion's been made and seconded to
Probably
continue
get Mike.
the public meeting for 4 Birch Street, map 159, lot 56, which is in response to enforcement order for Warren Chaff to October 7th. All those in favor?
Jim Thorne, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. New business, item number 11.
You want me to make a motion?
Yes, please.
I make a motion to waive the public reading for Benton Court, 0 Perry Street, Fire Road, map 269, lot 13 and 14.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kate. Motion's been made and seconded to waive the reading of the public hearing. All those in favor?
Jim Thorne, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Greco, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. The meeting for Christopher Betancourt, 0 Perry Street, Fire Road, map 269, lot 13 and 14 is now open.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Matthew Watsky here as counsel for Chris Betancourt.
Chris Betancourt, 41 Mystic Valley Lane.
Also, excuse me, my address, the law offices of Watsky Law is 30 Eastbrook Road, Dedham, Massachusetts.
Okay, thank you.
So you have a request for determination for a pervious surfaced fire road within buffer zone. Chris is proposing this in response actually to concerns that the commission had expressed that historically used access to get into the fire roads or cart roads that are internal to the property could have the potential to go through a wetland. And so we specifically searched for and identified a location where the fire road access from the road could be located, so it's in dry land buffer zone. And so that's how this is laid out. Where it ends, it actually connects up to existing cart path in the interior of the property. This just got a notice of intent number from DEP. It's 143-1112.
Thank you.
Did not show up on the website yet.
Got it at 2:30 today. Yeah, I got it too.
If Matt's got it, it's fine. The other Matt.
There you go. Now I can forward it to
It
you.
just came in.
Yep.
Any comments?
The only comment that they made was DEP notes that the proposed access roadway will provide access to existing logging roads on the subject parcel. Alterations of these roadways which occur within jurisdictional resource areas or their buffer zones will require permitting under the Wetlands Protection Act. And of course, we're well aware of that, and that's understood. There's no plan at this point to do such a thing, but if in the future it's considered, we'll come back.
So I have a further comment also. Looking to install this road started last year and the year before when there were several fires along Perry Street. on the north side that were extensive, and realizing that there's no real access from Perry Street to get into the property made us start looking for an area that might become just that.
Okay. Can you go through your plan and describe the impacts to the wetlands and what you're doing, or what you're doing to prevent impacts to wetlands and buffer zones, please?
Well, I think the plan as drawn is specifically designed to avoid impacts to wetlands. So you have a limited work line, an erosion control line, and then the placement of the crushed stone base to create a solid base so that you don't track mud in and out of the property, all linking up to the existing surface of Perry Street. So it's limited just to within the buffer zone between those two previously identified wetlands.
Okay. So how close are you getting to the wetlands?
Brendan, can you
I can zoom in for you.
on that for us?
Yeah.
What is the width of the fire hall road that you're proposing?
The limit of work line that's shown is, I think that's 50 feet. The actual surface, is that only 30 feet?
Yeah, 30 feet or less.
And you've got those, it's the 50-foot and 100-foot buffers shown.
Yeah, we have 100-foot right here, 50-foot right here.
Yeah. So it's located so although it's within the 100-foot buffer, it's outside of the 50-foot buffer from both wetlands.
Is there any grading associated with it?
It's pretty flat in there. We're probably talking 4 feet of topography differential from the road and about 100 feet.
If you take a look at the way we're zoomed in, it's coming in at a location where it's parallel to the contours.
Is there any reason why the road needs to be as wide as what it is when Perry Street is much narrower than the fire road?
Well, my only concern is that we'd be able to get a fire truck in there, four-wheel drive fire truck or something to help with whatever goes on in there. Like I said, we had several fires along Perry Street, and it would be a shame to have any extensive damage done in the interior. Shortly after that path, the proposed path ends, there are logging roads that go throughout the entire property. And we're just trying to give an access on this end of it. Coming in from the north, it would take 15, 20 minutes to get down that way, rough terrain.
Do you have an overall view of this site as to where this is in regards to the rest of the property?
I got something I can show you. Here we go. So, Mr. Chairman, on this aerial photograph, the area where it'd be going in is about right here. Right in here. We've got wetlands here, we've got wetlands here. There's like a old beaver pond with a lot of dead trees over here that's quite open. So the road would be coming in generally right here. And then what I'll do is I will zoom out, give you an idea of the whole property, the whole thing. And please give this program, it's a very big, clunky, but useful program, but it takes a little time sometimes. There we go. So if I was to, here's the big piece right here. It's got a lot of the frontage on Southeast Main Street and Orange Street, And we're talking about this lot and this lot. So it does have connection to the larger lot that we've been seeing, a lot of the NR, NOIs and RDAs.
I'm just like thrown by how big the area is of work and the gravel area, which will become, impervious surface. Is it currently wooded?
It is.
Okay, so is all tree removal? You're taking out all the trees within the
Actually,
50-foot area?
There's
Your
a
50-foot
couple
width?
of large trees in there that I would like to avoid, and then there's some small vegetation. It was an easy walk through. It's not wooded to the capacity that you're ducking trees.
Yeah.
It's pretty wide open with small brush. I didn't really have any input on the width of the road. I had it designed by Dupree Engineering, and I'm not sure, what the reasoning was to go 30 feet versus 28 versus 25. As far as I'm concerned, as long as there's access, that's all I care about.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
I'm sorry I didn't ask this question earlier, gentlemen, when you filed this application, but that Utah-shaped lot is unknown common ownership. We have no records of owners of that property in which this fire road is proposed on,
Which one, this one?
the one right above it.
This one right here?
Yeah. There's no record of ownership of that property, and our assessors did a deep dive on that. So how are we to authorize a fire road on that property when there's no record of owner?
I don't have an answer for that. I didn't realize that Dupree put that together on that particular piece of property. I asked them to stay on my property.
Okay.
So is that the blue line that crosses this?
Yeah, that line
Plan?
goes straight across, yep.
Right.
Is it blue or is it black?
It's blue for us.
Blue for you,
Blue
okay.
for me.
Yeah, it is blue.
Yeah.
Dark blue. I have some other questions myself.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Brandon, do you have any questions
Thank you.
or comments?
Yeah. Just going through some of the standard stuff here. We've got a fire road, which is a road. So I looked at WPA Form 3 that was filled out, and in Section A7, the project type of utilities was the one, that's the box that was checked off. And when I went to the other applicable standards and requirements section in Section C, the number 7 is the project subject to the provisions of the Mass DEP Stormwater Management Standards, and the checkbox for no was marked because it's associated with a single-family house. That's what was checked off. So I was wondering if you could explain to me why you think that this project is not subject to the stormwater management requirements, because single-family house is what's checked off, and yet in the other section is checked off as utilities. So I'm not saying you're right or wrong, I'd just like to give the commission an explanation, please.
Kevin's up there too.
We got
We have Tom Schutz and
Kevin Demers too? Okay.
Dammers.
Yeah, Demers, I always get it
I have a
wrong.
feeling that was a typo. But Kevin, you want to weigh in? We're not hearing you. I don't think you have your mic on.
No.
That's not working.
So through the chair.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. Kevin Demers from Decreed Engineering, two-staff recording, Cranston, Rhode Island. I didn't directly fill out the application, so I'm unsure of what items were checked on the application. Our assessment of stormwater was due to the fact this is a pervious surface, proposed pervious surface, in a location that's currently pervious with, avoiding the trees to the best of our ability. That was essentially how we designed the project, and the fact of the matter is, concentrating stormwater, proposing a system seems to be more of a potential issue than simply letting it sheet flow across this pervious surface. Again, we're parallel to the contours, and therefore there will be sheet flow across this driveway, as opposed to collecting it, having a point discharge. Did not seem to be a great way to manage any potential runoff from this driveway.
Kevin, can you just clarify, was it a typographical error to put a checkbox next to this being a driveway associated with a single-family house? It's just, there's no house proposed at all, it's a fire road, right?
I can speak to that. Tom Schott, Scotto Consulting, 291 Main Street, Northborough. It was a mistake to put the single-family house checkbox on that, just for the commission to be aware.
And there are also no utilities proposed.
So they're both typos.
I think so.
Okay, so.
Tom, is that correct also? That Brandon commented that the notice of intent form also has a checkbox next to utilities, but there are no utilities proposed.
That is correct. It would just be a pervious gravel driveway access road that would lead into the site for fire access.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. The three check boxes we have here as to why the project would be exempt from the stormwater standards are single-family house, emergency road repair, or small residential subdivision less than or equal to 4 single-family houses or less, or equal to 4 units in a multifamily housing project with no discharge to a critical area, which I can confirm there are no critical areas here, but so how does this project fall into one of those categories? That's what I want to know.
So that it's under one single-family house, less than, it's just not. I think the question actually I wanted Kevin to address is, how did he choose the 30-foot width of the gravel surface? And if you could just explain that. My understanding was that that's the width he determined was necessary for the fire equipment to get in. But Kevin, could you talk to that, please?
That's correct. It was a combination of a 30-foot width for truck turns to arrive from Perry Street, and also to have sufficient width to manage the roadway if there were proposed to be tree disturbances. We just want a few foot buffer in the event that we did need to decrease the width to go around any of the trees that we could successfully do so. We wanted to show more or less the worst case scenario for this swath through the buffer areas.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm assuming there's a bigger picture here. We're not just putting a fire access road for the sake of saving the forest. What's the bigger picture that's going on?
I can assure you that this road has got no other ulterior motive. If, we are in the planning development stage of using this property in other ways. My concern legitimately was that we had fires along Perry Street, and I don't want the forest to burn down. And I thought it was a reasonable request as a landowner to be able to give access for that purpose. if this was to be developed in any other way, that would be the least effective way to utilize an access. It was chosen primarily because it was the least affected area to get an access in there. And if anything ever happens in the future, that will be dissolved. It has no other use. We were just trying to have the least impact on wetlands to gain access to the back property, and that's it. Right behind that area are the beginning of logging roads that have been there for, God knows, 50 years, 100 years. And I just thought that it would make sense to have access from Perry Street, seeing as you have access from a couple of other areas to get in. And as I stated a few minutes ago, an all-terrain vehicle going in from the top to try to get to an area, it would take 20 minutes or more, depending on what it is. And I thought it would be, seeing as that was the area, and I don't know if somebody was throwing cigarettes out the window or if it was an act of God, but we've had several fires along Perry Street, and I just wanted to protect my property and neighbors.
So this is all your property?
Yes. It's 275 acres, that one parcel.
Does this become moot, though, if the property that on the north side of this page is not yours?
Well, there's that one parcel, and, you know, forgive Kevin for if he's incorrect in placement of it, for not doing his homework, I'm not sure.
We can review that and double check to make sure that is not, we have the records for that property.
So who owns
Yeah.
it?
Although the parcel immediately to the north of the parcel that fronts on Perry Street, they have the title uncertain. Chris owns the parcels to the east and the west of the parcel. This would gain access to get them into the property where the fire roads are, and where the logging trails are, and it's access to it, and this would provide them access to the parcel.
May I also ask a question?
Yes, Kate?
Where are the logging trails located respective to the end of this proposed road?
Kevin Demers, do you have something that you can share a screen and help illustrate where the existing logging roads are?
You can see them on the GIS maps.
Yeah, I think you can. So Kevin.
Yeah, I very simplified.
Can we give Kevin Demers permission?
And thank you, Kevin, for showing us.
Kevin, I think Brendan has given you sharing.
Oh, thank you. Sure.
What?
We can see this.
So they're spider webs of trails that you can see. They drag the logs on a main trail from veins throughout the entire property.
This is a very simple depiction. We have, this is the path that we'll be taking from Perry Street. These are the massive trails. As you can see, they're numerous throughout the central and north portion of the property. If I go to, I'll do a different picture, but yeah. So essentially, this is the large scale view of the site with our trail, staying once it passes through this narrow pinch point, will be offset from all the remaining wetlands. So if we need some minor alterations to make this to carve this path in, we'll be able to do so from that point going forward. And these are all the spiderweb paths, as was mentioned.
And so those connect to the fire access road?
Kevin, could you use like a drawing tool and draw in where the proposed fire access road would lie in relation to those existing plans?
Sure. So this is essentially the proposed fire access road. We've continued it to approximately this point. There are some understory clearing here, but we may be carving in a little bit more of the path, just to have a more defined path until this the main trunk line of the existing path within the site, which is essentially north-south from this location, going north all the way to the north-central part of the site. And the limitation, as may have been alluded to earlier, is obviously we have wetland crossing here, wetland crossing there, so in order to access this bulk of the property, we found one particular location where we didn't have to cross wetlands. We simply needed to travel through the buffer zone.
So we're just not seeing the full fire access road, if I'm understanding correctly? Are we just not seeing the full fire access road, if I'm understanding correctly?
I believe the initial map that Kevin put up was only the affected area where it crosses through the 100-foot.
The affected area within the buffers will be to approximately this point.
Okay.
Just using simplified graphic, and then there may be some other small disturbances to get to the main trunk line here. We simply show the amount of work necessary to get to the upland, to the main uplands of the project site.
Okay. Thank you. So if lot 13 isn't...
It's 275 acres. It's
Lot 13?
Parcel 13.
269,
269.
is the Utah lot.
Yeah, right, correct.
Right.
So if we're not sure who owns that, are we still able to build the road?
Well, I would intend to go on somebody else's property or no-name property. I hired professionals to steer me through this.
Right, you cannot issue an order for someone else's property without their explicit permission.
So
Right. And I would be concerned about trying to connect to it as well.
Exactly.
I would not bring a road.
That's my question.
Kevin Demers, could you, pull up a plan that shows the property lines?
I get it.
You got it?
Yep.
I want to see the property lines and just overlay where the actual proposed work that's within buffer zone, that's the subject of this permit. I think that's
Well,
entirely...
if he's going to outline it, then he needs to bring it up, because they won't be able to see his cursor if I bring it up. So go ahead, Kevin.
While he's bringing that up, is this something that the Douglas Fire Department has reviewed and looked at? And is it something that they requested?
No.
You can see my screen. This is essentially the path, the approximate path on top of our former existing conditions plan. So the path will start from Perry Street, approximately here, go between these two wetlands, and then the lot, this particular lot, which is it's actually two lot 13s. This one is 269 lot 13. So we'll pass through this property, then this is approximately where the limit of this particular work will end, and then this is the main trunk line that we looked at on the aerial, which is on plat 269 lot 12.
Would you be proposing a gate at the junction of the Fire Road with Perry Street
I
to,
think that would be a good idea. Have a Knox box or a lock provided by the fire department that we each have keys to.
I think would be necessary, because you're inviting people to drive up there with
No,
a
I-
driveway of that
Definitely not.
substantial a size.
I am fully posted out there, no trespassing signs.
So, Mr. Chair, so until we figure out for that property where it's going through, there's nothing we can technically do, correct?
Not for that property.
So they would have to reconfigure it then in order, if not to use that one piece,
Unless he can
show ownership of it.
or get some kind of ownership, yeah, or obtain permission from the unknown owner.
Okay, so,
If I may, maybe Kevin Demers can help clarify this. I had understood that the extent of the proposed fire road, which is shown on the plan as part of this request for determination, was just the first couple hundred feet, and that was entirely on Chris's property.
It does go into lot 13.
Yep.
Where it's leading is another question, but the actual work that's proposed in this request is entirely on Chris's land, as I understand it.
no, because we can't grant something if it's not his.
Kevin, is that blue line a property line?
Yes.
Yeah, so this would be property line between the lot.
Does that cross over? Is that where it crosses over from my land?
Yes.
That's what they show.
And why are we here? I was trying to provide an access point. I'm a little disappointed, say the least.
Well, if I get a feeling this is not done, right? You want to continue with it, right? So-
Yeah, let's just,
So I'm still not convinced that this is stormwater exempt, based on the information presented today and what I know to be exempt for stormwater. At the same time, I want to say that since we're going to be continuing, it sounds like, I want to tell Tom that the wetland flags that are out there could be in better shape. They're very faded. Some of them are outright missing. I can't say I had any, real issues with the placement, but it would be nice to get those refreshed if we're going to be continuing on. But I was looking at the, walking along the line, following the line with the plan in hand, and I noticed that flag H441, which is on Lot 13, it may be a moot point at this point, but it seems to be an outlier. It's got a nice little V notch to it. Yeah, see that?
Yep.
That does not line up with what's actually in the field. It's much more of a gradual curve going from flag H442 to H440, which leads me to my next question was, by what methods were the wetland flags located? Was it a ground survey? Was it GPS? And if it was GPS, we do have a engineer's stamp, which is fine. You don't have to have a surveyor's stamp to locate wetland flags, but that flag seems a little bit out of whack from what I saw in the field, so I want to know what the accuracy of this GPS is, if that's the case.
From my recollection, Dupree went out and did the initial flagging, and Goddard went out and double-checked it. I paid both parties to do it.
No, that's correct. I think what he's asking is what device was used to survey the flags to add them to the site plan, because it seems a little off, and it might be a little bit up gradient from where the wetland line actually exists. So I think that would be a question for Kevin and Dupree on what methods were used to survey that onto the plan.
All right.
Yes, I believe it was GPS located.
Okay, so for the next meeting, in the meantime, could you please send me an email as to, what device was used and what the accuracy of that device is? And again, I'm going to ask you to go back out and look at that flag, H441. It's on Lot 13, so I don't know, that might be a moot point, but it makes me question all the other flags now. Okay? And, you know, we're talking about stormwater. When I was out there, let me, can I share the screen, Kev?
Oh, yes.
Kevin, Mr. Demers, thank you. All right, so back to the, I had some pictures here that I was rifling through. This is from the road, and it's, the area where they want to put the road is staked out, which was very nice. They're going to be coming through this forest. Now, there is already an area, it looks like there might have been a cart path there a long time ago because it's somewhat open already, but they're kind of to the right of that in the trees. And here's an example of what the wetland looks like. Here's some sphagnum moss down here. It's I'd say medium to high quality wetland system in here. I didn't see any invasive species. You know, it's an oak maple forest with some minor components of white pine and eastern hemlock. You know, there's some good wildlife habitat structure here. For example, here's an old hemlock tree with a lot of woodpecker holes in it. They can serve as, you know, bird nesting and forage habitat. Here's the old beaver pond right here that's more in the back on lot 13. Here's what the road looks like on lot 13. It's fairly open. It's not, if you ever want to go there, it's fairly open walking. But here's what I wanted to point out, and this is why I'm so concerned about stormwater. It's flag N55, okay? I'm going to go back. I'm going to switch around real quick to, how do I do this? Come on, share, go back to the plan. Flag N55 is right here. You see my cursor? Okay, going back to where I was. Well, what I want to point out is the elevations, 492, 490, 488, 486. So it goes from the higher point here on the left, on the west-hand side, to a lower in this wetland on the east side. All right, so water flow and the gradient is from left to right on this screen. So here I am, the flag N55, and then I just take, I put that down and I take a shot right in front of me. Here's flag N55. I don't know how well this came out, but right here is the slightest of channels. And what that represents is, what I noticed is that this wetland right here, based on what I see, fills up, I'm guessing in the spring, right, in the winter and spring, and it discharges past flag A55 in this channel, and it continues downhill to this wetland down here. So that's, I'm concerned that if we put a road in, once the road goes in and this thing discharges in the springtime, where's that water going to go? Is it going to end up on Perry Street? Is it going to cause erosion? Like, what, is it going to continue down the hill? So this is my question that hopefully Mr. Demers can look into.
We actually had a pretty detailed discussion with Mr. Demers about just that, and I'm sure he can weigh in now. My understanding is that he specifically laid out the topography for the proposed road, so that the sheet flow coming off of the wetland to the west to go flow right across the pervious surface of the road in the same direction that it goes now. So it's not going to intercept or interfere with that flow, just sheet flow over the road. Kevin, can you weigh in?
Yes, that was the intent of the design, was to not, not block any potential runoff from the upgrading areas. There's a watershed to our west that would flow across. So yes, the intent is not to build up the road. In order to block that, we can express that with a further detailed note on the drawing.
get out of it is going to be fine.
Is it
Brandon, does that make that an intermittent stream if there's a...
No, I don't think it goes.
Reaches that level?
I don't think it reaches that level. This is a seasonal discharge point when things get really, really, really wet, but I wouldn't call, I think that the wetland was still delineated correctly, because a wetland is a place where the groundwater is very high for long periods of time, enough to support a predominance of wetland plants. As soon as you get beyond that, the wetland vegetation changes to be more predominantly upland, and the water that's being discharged does not have, it doesn't have banks, like scoured banks. So I wouldn't be inclined to call the discharge a wetland.
Do you know if there's any vernal pools within this wetland area?
I didn't see anything that would be near to the road. Within the interior of both wetlands, I could see that there was plenty of water-stained leaves. The question is, do they retain water for at least 2 months in the spring and or summer? And even if so, how would that affect work under the bylaw?
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like there's a depression on the right side of the fire road as you enter into the property.
Oh, there's definitely a depression, and then within the depression, there's a even deeper depression where the water actually ponds.
Yep. So for you guys moving forward, I mean, my concern is the whole width of the disturbance area of 50 feet and the gravel driveway of 30 feet. Perry Street, as you enter this area, is not 50 feet wide, cleared area, or is it 30-foot wide gravel road? So I don't want to completely change the look of this area
Nor do I.
by making a wider...
I believe the reasoning for Kevin to choose 50 foot is so that the road could go around existing vegetation, trees, and go to the right or go to the left of something instead of cutting it.
Well, that's not what the plan shows. The plan shows 50-foot limit of disturbance, cleared area.
Well, I don't think that that's necessary.
That's a detail that we can tweak.
The plan also does not show grading, so if there's any, this is going to have to be graded, I would like to see grading and not just a detail that shows a cross slope on the path.
What
Fire
I
road.
can do is check in with the fire department and just verify what width they would want to see for particular access width for this roadway, and just match that on the plan.
Well, it still is going before us, so we still have a say in that.
And I'm still not convinced that this is stormwater exempt.
Correct.
We'll have to address that question.
Yeah, this thing.
All right.
Doesn't have to be like memo of law, but some kind of statement.
Any comments from the public on this public notice of intent hearing? Any further comments from the commission?
No, not at the time.
Are you okay with continuing?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other purpose for this other than that, and the fire season at this point is almost over. We started looking into this last year, and we finally gotten to the table with something, and it's flawed. So, we'll try to make changes to see if it's feasible. If it's not feasible, it's not feasible.
Anyone want to make a motion to continue this public hearing for?
You don't need a motion, right? Yeah. Sure, I'll make a motion to continue this public hearing for October 7th. Is that too soon for you guys, or is that okay? Do you need more time?
That's enough for us to do enough research for us to be able to determine whether or not we could be on that date.
Okay. All right.
If we're not ready, we'll let you know.
Okay, that's fine. For October 7th for 0 Perry Street, Fire Road, map 269, lot 13 and 14.
DEP number?
Oh, sorry. DEP number 143-1112.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike Greco. I have a vote to continue the public hearing for Christopher Betancourt, 0 Perry Street, the Fire Road, map 269, lot 13 and 14, DEP number 143-112 till October 7th.
Jim
All those in
Foran, aye.
favor?
Brendan Doyle, aye.
No,
Kate
you're right.
Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you.
Good night, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Number 12. That's all right.
All right. Here we go. Waive another one?
Yep, I will make a motion to waive the public reading for, 35 Wallace Street, single-family map 185, lot 10.
Motion's been made to waive the reading of the public hearing notice for Anthony and Denise Brookhouse, 35 Wallace Street, map 185, lot 10. Second? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Josiah Birch seconds. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Public hearing is now open. Is there a representative here to discuss this project?
Yes, Mark Allen, Allen Engineering Associates. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Mark, we can hear you.
Good evening. Mark Allen, Allen Engineering, here representing Tony and Denise Brookhouse. They are under construction at 35 Wallace Street. And just to give this commission a little bit of history, this property was given an order of conditions back in May of 2021. That 3-year period of permit coverage has expired on May 24th, 2021. We had asked Jen Kuchar and Brandon if we could ask for an extension. They had indicated that that would not suffice, so we had filed a brand-new notice of intent for you tonight. The new filing does not yet have a DEP number yet, but we anticipate one shortly. To give this commission a little bit of history, the property at 35 Wallace Street was originally flagged by Goddard Consulting. They did the original flagging, and Ecotech, Art Allen, also reviewed the project for the Douglas Conservation and issued a letter in May of 2021. So the entire perimeter of the wetland boundary was locked down in 2021. This new project, or this continued project in front of you, will not alter any more trees, will not alter any more limit of work, if you will. It's simply to continue the construction activity that is ongoing. If there's a way, I'd love to share my screen for you guys in the meeting. If that's something that either Matt or somebody can help me with, I can bring it my plan on the screen.
All set.
All set.
All right. Let's see if I can. Can everybody see that on the screen?
Yes.
Great. So as I mentioned before, the wetland boundaries that were previously identified are shown here in green, and the 50-foot buffer is the first internal yellow color, and the second yellow color is the 100-foot buffer zone. The other portions of the site have been completed, they have been stabilized, and what we are looking for is basically the ongoing construction of the remaining items. So this notice of intent is specifically to complete the retaining wall construction, to complete the septic system installation, to oversee the pool, the patio, and the sport court area, the in-law dwelling, and the driveway and lawn stabilization. As I say, nothing has changed as far as limit of work. It was simply an expiration of the original order of conditions that was in May of this year. So we're a couple of months out from the expired order of conditions. And with that, I would take on any questions that the commission may have relative to the finishing of the project.
All right, I'm confused then. If you have an existing order of conditions, but you don't have a certificate of compliance for that, correct? Because it wasn't completed. Why is it a new notice of intent?
Because it expired, and there's no opportunity to renew it.
Okay.
So they had to refile because they missed all the deadlines for extending the order. So they have to refile to be able to finish it.
Okay. But
we tried to refile in late May, early June, and Jen and Brandon said we had to refile.
Yeah, they missed their deadline. So I did a side by each comparison of the house and everything for file number 143-1020, and there do seem to be a few tweaks in and around the house anyway. And another thing that's going on, there's a boathouse down by the water, and part of the original submission was a requirement for a very small but still present wetland replication area that I haven't seen any progress on yet. And I've been to this site twice already over the winter when there was a complaint. And I met the contractor and was able to get a little more information at that time. Okay. So, the wetland replication area is still something we gotta get done.
So how do we do that? It's not part of this notice of intent.
This is why, and again, there's no DEP file number yet. I haven't, because it's a new filing, I want to go out there and trust but verify the wetland boundaries all over again, because I'm treating this as if it was a new filing, because it was Steve Zisk that reviewed the last one.
Right.
So I'm trying to make this one Brandon's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be going out there, which I haven't done. I've been there twice, but I didn't get into this level yet. So that's what I'm going to do.
So I just want to make the commission aware that although Goddard Consulting flagged the site, Ecotech and Art Allen made it their own as well in 2021. So the wetland flags were peer reviewed back in 2021.
Well, that should make my review easier.
Okay. So if something has not been completed, well, there's a lot that hasn't been completed from the last notice of intent, but in particular, the replication area.
That's one of my big concerns, yes.
Yeah, so we would want to make that part of the new notice of intent and new requirements.
Yes, so these are things I'm going to be delving into.
Okay.
We have a little bit of time.
Based on your review, when you said you overlaid the two and there's some slight differences, is it a difference in the area of work?
Yeah, let's see what I can do here.
Yeah, the limit of work hasn't changed. We're not proposing to do any more, tree clearing. Actually, after we were notified that we had to file a new application, Tony and Denise instructed their home builder to reestablish and repair any and all erosion controls. So all the erosion controls, once Brandon gets on site, he should see that everything is in order as far as erosion control is concerned. We had done an inspection. This survey that you see in front of you is a compilation of an as-built survey as of July of this year. So everything that you see in front of you is new data and accurate data in order to get the finished grades to where they need to be. Brandon is correct. The original file had a slightly different configuration of the pool and patio area and the sport court area. It's actually shrunk in size, but the septic system area should be the same, but overall, the entire limit of work is the same limit of work.
Okay.
So, let's see here. Mind if I share? Mark?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. This is the original approved plan.
No, that's the new one.
That's the new one? You're right, that is, here's the original, thank you. We get the house wrapping around with a patio and a pool here. And then we go over to here, and it's not, yeah, this one's like a little skewed to the right, this one's more straight on. Right.
So you'll notice that the house box is smaller, the future in-law dwelling is smaller, the pool area is smaller, and the sport court has been added. But overall, the program is the same.
Right, so this, we're calling it a sport court?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what we'll call it then. This is new,
Yes.
but everything over here is more or less as it was in 2021, except slightly smaller footprint?
Correct.
Okay.
Was there always a retaining wall below the sport court?
Yes.
And what is below the retaining wall?
Yeah, the retaining wall you'll see along the sport court area is new, but inside the same limit of work. In order to bring that grade up for the sport court, the retaining wall was needed to be added.
How high is the wall?
The wall is anywhere between 4 to 6 feet tall.
And what do we have right here?
That is the existing boulder wall that depicts the existing limit of work.
Okay. Which I don't see that in this.
Yeah, previously the limit of work was pushed further down the hill. Tony and Denise decided to do the retaining wall to retain some of the grade. So the stone boulder wall was added there so as to limit the total grading off-site, or on-site, but closer to the wetlands.
Yeah. Not that it means anything, I just want to point out that you get some pretty elaborate grading here with the curvature.
Well, we have a lot going on right on the 25-foot buffer line.
Yeah.
We've got a wall, we've got, looks like some kind of a drainage swale, and a lot of grading with a lot of slope heading all towards all that area, a lot of runoff going in that direction. It's a little concerning to me how much water we're working into that wall and
And for the new members?
25-foot buffer zone.
For the new members, Mr. Chairman? Under the Douglas bylaw, wetland protection regulations, the standard, we call the performance standard for work, for residential activity, including residential lots and multifamily residential development, limit of work or disturbance can be no closer than 25 feet from the wetland boundary, and the limit of building can be no closer than 50 feet from the wetland boundary. So, yeah.
Yes, and I would say that in many areas that I work, a wall of 6 feet high is a structure, and to be, can be viewed as such, so.
It's very close, but not quite there. So you get the 25-foot no-touch line right here, right? And then the 50-foot is right here. So that's pretty close. So what I have to do is just agree, with the wetland boundary. With special emphasis on these flags in the mid to upper 70 numbers. In here. So I'll make special note of that area. But to go back to the old site plans. Okay, so what they did was, in order to build the boathouse, which is right here, there's a little triangle of wetland that the Conservation Commission allowed them to fill. And my question, because I wasn't here at the time, and maybe Mark or Mike might have an answer, like given that you have a 25-foot no-touch, 50-foot no-build, how did that get passed?
Yep.
Because it's already up. It's already there. I'm just curious.
It was put on piers.
So that's,
Okay.
Yep.
yeah, and that's an old filing, Brandon, and maybe on the sidewalk, we can get you the approved set. That was, I think, maybe the original filing.
Bless you.
Okay.
A couple of iterations happened after that.
Okay. Well, this one has revised site plans. But there's supposed to be a wetland replication area down here, and and it's not shown. I do remember seeing a site plan that depicted the replication area, I think, down in this area. So maybe it was over here.
That's incorrect.
No? Where was it supposed to be?
There wasn't one. We avoided the wetland filling altogether. That's why I say you have an earlier version of the plan.
Oh, really? Okay. Things I need to delve into.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This future in-law dwelling, so I understand there's no permits for that at this time. No one's secured a special permit from the planning board. I understand that in-law ADUs are going to become by right starting February 2nd, but those by right regulations say that it's either 50% the size of the gross floor area of the home or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. I assume that 900 square feet would be the smaller, given the size of this home, and this in-law apartment to scale looks to be a lot larger than 900 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. This should be probably scaled down to be a 900 square foot gross floor area in-law dwelling if it's to be on this plan, and it's not even regulated yet. So how does it exist on this plan? That's my question.
How many square feet is the in-law?
No. This one on the plan.
Yeah. It doesn't say it, does it?
That is my question for the applicant.
Yeah, the size of the accessory structure, again, was permitted back in 2021. I'd have to review the notes as far as the size and location. I don't believe it has a building permit yet, but I could check with the building inspector. I'm sure, Matt can do that as well.
Yeah, right now, under our current regulation, a detached in-law dwelling needs to be 50 feet from the structure itself. I don't know if this gives it that or not, but even though it was shown on this plan, this
there was some back and forth. Again, this is completely outside the conservation realm, but
agreed.
More than happy to talk about it, zoning and planning, Matt.
Yep, absolutely. It's just, I understand it got put on this plan, but it didn't receive any permits before getting put on this original notice of intent. So it shouldn't exist, that's what I'm saying.
So unless there's any other comments, Mr. Chairman, I just recommend continuing it.
May I ask a question, just for clarification? You mentioned that the 6-foot wall could be considered a structure, and it looks like there's a note that it's going to be designed by a structural engineer. If it is considered a structure, does it need to be like within a certain distance away from the wetlands?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
25.
That 25 for the structure?
50.
Well, 50 feet for structures.
Oh, got it.
So according to the Douglas Wetland Protection Regulations, building means anything requiring a building permit or other structure, including but not limited to retention or detention ponds, culverts, or wing walls.
Thank you.
That's the actual definition.
You want me to make a motion to continue? Sorry.
So I guess.
Is there a site walk before we continue the hearing? Is there a site walk that Brandon would like to set up with the applicant and the owner?
Sure. We can do that. We can do that tomorrow. So just get in touch with me and we can set that up.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would like you to take a look at the area where the wall is 25 feet away from the wetland.
It's greater than 50 feet at the moment.
I see 25-foot no-touch, a B line that's to the left of the pool.
That's the 50-foot.
Yeah, to the left of the pool, there's also the 50-foot no structure line. It's
Right.
hard to see.
Right.
Right, and I will remind the applicant that in the bylaw regulations, there's a requirement for color coding of the site plans to make it easier to see for the Conservation Commission at these meetings, to make it easier to see, so it would be nice to have that done.
Can I share, I can share my screen, they had it color coded.
Yeah, sure.
This is the 25-foot, and then the second line is the 50-foot, and this retaining wall is greater than 50 feet away.
I don't want to argue with you, but it clearly shows the wall being at the 25-foot line.
We're talking above that mark.
I get it.
Yeah. The existing.
I see all yellow lines, so.
The existing was a wall and a swale?
Well, what is to the left of the pool? It's off.
Oh, the existing boulders. I see. I apologize. I thought you were talking about the new retaining wall that's greater than 50 feet away. So the existing stones that were placed when they cleared it, that's your item of concern.
Yeah.
Understood.
Right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
To the left of the pool.
I'm talking about to the left of the pool. There's what looks like hay bales, which I think is the wall, but I don't see a legend here to know, well, what does the legend say? Erosion control or hay bales. But the grades go right into something. So there must be some kind of a wall there, because they all go right into some kind of structure.
Yeah, so the erosion control has been placed at the top of the existing stone, I'll call it wall, but the stones that were piled up for the construction are in this hatch that has sort of the gravel hatch. And the new hay bales that are in place today are at the top of that wall, so as to not compromise the integrity of that stone wall. So those hay bales are there today that are in silt fence.
Right, but now the grades or the grading is being brought to that wall, correct? The boulder wall.
Yeah, so the top of that wall, the top of those boulders will be the finished grade. There will be no grading below that. All of the grading will occur above that boulder wall.
So Brandon just needs to look at the boulder wall and determine if it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
I think the sidewalk will clear up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and one thing I'm noticing, Mark, is that I have a bunch of old plans, but the plan that was approved is dated May 19, 2021, and I do not seem to have that one. I've got a March 29 plan, I've got some other ones that you just saw, but I think this is probably why we're having the confusion, is if maybe you could forward me that 5/19/21 plan, it would help me in my review. I'd appreciate it if you could do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So between the terrace and the house and the court, there's a lot of impervious surface here. Is there a drainage plan?
There's no drainage due to the fact that it's a single-family residence, but there is drainage incorporated into the patio area so that the impervious surfaces drain 2 outlets, and I'll kind of circle them here, so that anything on the impervious area has an area to get away from the impervious area. I think we have 3 or 4 different locations where the impervious area will come out.
Okay, you just circled 2.
Yeah, I gotta find.
I'll have to look. All right. I can look as well.
There's one down in this location.
Right.
But yeah, there is a.
So there's no attenuation of those drainage structures, or what is at the end of each of those pipes?
It's just a 4-inch flared outlet. Again, they're just collecting water from the patio.
What about roof drains?
No asphalt. Roof drains, I believe. I believe one roof drain may have been installed, it may not have been, to come out at the end of that boulder wall. And I believe the other roof drain was headed out in this direction.
Are there drains beyond the 25-foot buffer? I see some triangles. Well, no, that would be right at the 25-foot buffer. Below the court?
Yeah, so one of the roof drains
Those
was
look like
to
they're-
be discharged at the base of that wall, greater than 25 feet away.
They look like they're outside the limit of work.
Yeah, it's going to be at the base of that wall.
And Mr. Chairman, in my reading of the bylaw and the regulations, I think that you do have the authority to require stormwater attenuation for single-family houses. As I read Section 4 of the bylaw, Section 4 reads, and I'm going to paraphrase, "If it issues a permit after making such determination, the Conservation Commission shall impose such conditions as it determines are necessary or desirable for the protection of those interests, as in the public interests, under the Wetlands Protection Act, and all work shall be done in accordance with those provisions." And Section 8 of the Wetland Protection Regulations, it more or less reiterates that, saying that the commission shall impose conditions which it deems necessary or desirable to protect those values, and all activity shall be done in accordance with those conditions. So that's the way I read it.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't your typical single-family house. There's a lot of surface, impervious surface here.
But just to reiterate, this was issued an order of conditions without it, so this would be a major change to this application.
It's a new notice of intent. Okay. Any other comments from the commission members? Anybody from the public have any comment? No comments? Make a motion for continuation of the public hearing?
Yep, make a motion for 35 Wallace Street, single-family map 185, lot 10, to continue to October 7th, next meeting.
And is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Brendan. All those in favor of continuing the public hearing?
Jim Farr and I.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to open a public meeting for 5.
No, this is old
This
business.
is just enforcement, right?
This is an old business, it's already open. It's continued public hearing.
Yep.
Number 13.
Yeah, I was just going to open the public meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was hoping we were further ahead.
I think we all thought we were. Some,
I'm just, yeah.
For
sorry.
5 Laurel Glades, tree removal deck and stair replacement, David Backus. Okay, so name and address, please.
5 Laurel Glade, and Brenda Backus.
Thank you. So I think when you were here last time, we had some questions about the extent of the work and what was being requested, so.
I believe I've answered your concerns in the diagrams, and it shows, you know, the black lines are the existing. This one here, the folded one in front of you.
I'm looking for it.
I believe it's right there. Is that it?
Pretty big. I got a bunch of them here.
Oh, I just assumed it looked like this one. So I assumed it was it. This one? But the black lines is what's existing. Okay. The red lines is what changes I want to make. Okay. One of the concerns you had was the hot tub, and my intention is to relocate it under the deck. Just remove it from the backyard completely. The other concern you had, you wanted to know he shows the stairs out, where the stairs are going to be. And the 2 trees being removed. And then the third tree is the one that's, say, the top, that's actually pretty much dead. So it leans towards the neighbors, and eventually, when it does, someday it will fall, and when it does, it'll hit the neighbor's house. And then
So does that say 19 feet there?
The tree is 19 feet from the
water's edge?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the side stairs are over here in red.
Okay.
Everything, by the way, everything's 60 scale. I failed to mark that in there, but it's a 60 scale.
Okay.
And then the retaining wall I'd like to put in on the far edge of the property line. It only goes about 4 feet in height, down to about 8 inches. Yeah, right. It would go like along that embankment there.
There's a pipe.
Yeah, pipe sticking up is
Right
is the
there. Probably the property line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I'm talking about the wall kind of running up here. I think you might have to pull some of these trees down with it.
No, actually, the property line goes right, believe it, right to the middle of that tree there.
Yeah.
So I would hold the wall to the side of it.
Okay, to this, I mean, these three are kind of, I don't know how you.
It'll kind of like, you know, it won't be exactly straight, you know, because basically I'm going to leave the trees alone.
Okay.
This is a retaining wall?
Yes, it should be 4 feet at its highest point and about 8 inches at its lowest.
Which is the high side and which is the low
The high
side?
side is down towards the water.
I am. Okay, and so this is 4 feet from the water?
Yes.
And then extends 28 feet
Yes.
up from the water?
Yep.
So is it like a little L-shape wall?
Yep.
Okay.
I said, it wouldn't be exactly straight. It'd be, you know, like I said, I'm going to leave the trees alone.
What's the purpose of the retaining wall?
Just, there's a serious embankment right there, so just to kind of flatten it out.
So
That's something I'd like to do, but it's not critical by any means.
So the wall would kind of go right here.
And then are you backfilling?
Yeah, so that would
behind the
kill
wall?
the trees if you backfill it.
Well, I don't have to do that part of it. It's just something I'd like to do.
Okay. It's what you're proposing.
Right, but if you
So-
say you don't want, if you're saying you'll hurt the trees, then I'll delete that piece. Okay? The more critical thing to me is the deck itself, which is actually starting to get holes rotted in it. So I need to do something with it.
Okay. Can you tell us about those concrete stairs?
Yeah, like I say, I was unaware of the issues with that. When we first got it, I actually fell down and slid right down there on the rocks. So I did put the concrete stairs in.
Okay. That is in our jurisdiction.
I was unaware of that at the time.
Okay.
And you also asked for documents on the dock I'd like to use. And those are all included.
Right. Brandon, have you been out to the site and looked at it?
Been out there.
Okay.
So, yeah, today. And the dock specs are all legit. I don't see any issue with that. It's obviously been repaired. I mean, it's probably more of a safety hazard now than it's ever been. It's just cool. I don't even want to walk on it, to be honest with you. I'm not nervous. But, just looking at it. See the stairs, and the wall, we kind of go to the side over here.
So the wall, so, I'm sorry to be stuck on this, I'm trying to understand. So if you build a retaining wall, it would kind of be, you wind up with the ground surface at the same level as that top step? Is that ultimately the goal?
It would be a little below that.
Okay, but it would kind of come off the steps and then come back up
Yes.
behind us, and then you would backfill that?
Right.
Got it, okay.
Come up that way, on the other side of those
Right.
trees.
And is that like a stone wall retaining wall, or like a railroad tie? or-
You know those blocks?
Oh, yeah,
That's a lot, but
yeah, I got you, okay.
that's where that wall was. And then we come up here towards the next part. If you want to talk about that.
You can see where the stairs would start, going up the embankment there. It starts 12 feet back from the existing building.
That's where you're proposing the railroad tie steps, right?
Right.
And that looks to be about 65 feet or so from the water's edge,
Yes.
based on the scale of your plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, am I looking at this plan and what you've described and seeing the pictures, I think that, obviously, the removal of the 2 trees and the replacement of the stairs is all doable as under the request for determination of applicability, probably.
Okay.
That's my opinion, along with the railroad tie steps. But I have a big issue with the retaining wall and the fact that concrete steps were already installed without our approval.
At the time.
And that needs to be a notice of intent.
Okay.
And I think a notice of intent is needed.
Okay. I'll file one for that.
You say you'll file one, but it's going to need more detail than what we're seeing here. It's going to, and I don't know if it's something that we want to approve before you go through the work of filing a notice of intent.
Okay.
I don't see, it's going to require tree removal, it looks like. It's going to, it's working very close to the pond edge. Could be very disruptive. And, I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about the work that's been done as well, so.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to quote again tonight, the Wetlands Protection Act of the town of Douglas, on Table 1. Any residential activity, including residential lots and multifamily residential development, the limit of disturbance for the work, to have a building, it's 50 feet, but you can't do anything within 25 feet, so you can't, like what the chairman had pointed out, that this is, you can't do the
It's fine,
the wall at
I'll leave the
all.
wall there.
Yeah, I mean, just,
I'll take them out.
Well, I think the context of this is new construction, not necessarily, revamping something that's already there. And sometimes, revamping does require some changes that you might be able to get approved, through an RDA or a notice of intent, but it's within the commission's discretion. If you're doing a fix, something that needs to be fixed, right? And you can't quite put it back the same way.
Yeah.
It's not, it's replacement, but not substantial enlargement is the context of it all.
Yeah.
New construction, like that's not related to something that's already there, absolutely, I think that these standards apply.
yes, the new construction of this wall is probably not a good idea.
Well, I said, forget the wall.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Brandon, what's your feeling on the steps? And where do we go with that from here? It's done, but it wasn't applied for, it wasn't approved.
Okay, are they brand-new steps?
What's upstairs there?
Well, there was loose rocks that were being used for steps, that I actually fell down the stairs right after we bought it.
Okay, so would you classify as you just repairing, or, it seems like a bit of an upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Are they substantially, is the footprint substantially enlarged from what it was before?
No.
Okay, so I think that becomes discretionary to the commission. The fact that they were already there in some form is a feather in your cap. If there was nothing there before at all and you decide to put stairs where there were never stairs, that's a problem. But in this case, I think it's more discretionary to the commission.
I would agree. So do we just let it wash, though, or do we?
It's your
It is.
call.
Oh, thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would say do the NOI, right? Because that's the right thing to do, so, I mean, can you do Google Maps and see what was there prior?
I can try. Let me see what we got here. Okay, let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. The address
Do you know what
is
year you
again,
bought your home?
what's the address again?
5 Laurel Glades.
Thank
last
you.
October, last October.
While you're looking that up,
That's why things like these trees,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Okay.
they were there. I mean,
what
right.
looks like,
why they would never let them grow like that
I understand.
is the main septic tank is like right there,
sidebar.
and eventually trees are going to compromise the tank.
Gentlemen,
Right.
Hold on a second.
conversation has to go through the chair. You guys
Sorry.
can't have a sidebar.
Excuse me.
So, it's all right. Just, it looks like there's some, like, stormwater drainage coming off the road that comes right down where these stairs are supposed to go, right? So how do you mitigate that, right?
By putting drainage build drainage into the stairs.
Right. So that has to be part of your plan, right? And if this, I don't know how this RDA would cover that, right? The RDA is just to install those, it doesn't have the drainage. The NOI should be for the whole project, in my opinion. I mean, maybe you do the tree removal, but why don't you just submit for the whole package? You said that the hot tub was to go on this deck, but where on that deck? Because it's here.
The lower section there, raise it up so it's even with the rest of it,
Okay,
and then put it in front of the slider.
okay. So that to get raised up. All right, so significant construction. stairs, and then they would extend out past that tree.
I mean, I'm fine with it, repackaging it up as a notice of intent, and then you include the concrete steps in the notice of intent. So we would have the tree removal, we would have the new stairs, I guess the relocated hot tub, and
The dock replacement.
the steps, the dock replacement, all as one package and as a notice of intent. I mean, I think that's the cleanest thing to do.
And what about the drainage associated with the steps that Matt was referring to?
Yeah.
Yep.
Have to be part of it.
There was previous tree removal as well, I believe, right? So it would be the previous tree removal and the proposed, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep, and any new tree planting. So that's how I feel as well. Does that sound like a plan? Any comments from anybody else in the audience?
Anyone on Zoom?
General public on Zoom? So to do that, we have a request for determination of applicability here, so we would vote not to.
Be a positive determination.
Positive determination,
If
right?
you, if you want, if you're pushing this towards a notice of intent, it would be a positive determination, yes. Positive meaning, yes, you need to file a notice of intent.
And would there be a deadline for filing that notice of intent?
Was this a result of an enforcement order?
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose, it's still under enforcement.
In that case, you can't impose a,
NOI.
an NOI, like a date certain that it needs to be in. Now, that said, all the engineers, all the surveyors, which they're going to need, are all backed up by months. So I would give them some time.
They say like
Why do they
next
need a
spring or
survey?
something, something like that.
We've tried, yeah, we've made calls.
Because with drainage,
Yeah.
Oh, for the drainage
you
portion.
need some
I
grading.
couldn't get anybody to even respond.
Yeah, it's,
Like, at least 2 months, that's would be like the bare minimum, given what I know of how backed up these engineers and surveyors are.
I mean, if they can do it sooner, they can, but yeah, we would give them 2 months.
I said I couldn't get him even return a call. Yeah, that's why I wanted to drawing up myself.
Yeah, I know.
So should we give 3 months then?
I was thinking like 6 months, you know, I mean, to be more realistic, you know, because you get the holidays in 3 months.
I mean, it's no skin off my back.
I was just curious about the deck part for them, where,
So would I be able to do the deck and the trees in the meantime?
I would just say because Matt said it wasn't that sturdy.
It's not as awful as good.
Well, is this going to be
So I don't
is
know.
this going to be a safety issue over the winter?
Yeah.
How do you issue a partial determination?
Let me bring up the determination form and see what we can do here. Let me see here. WPA forms. Form 2, DOA. All right, let's look at this together. Okay. Oh, can I share? Okay. Determination, so we have a project description, and in the project description, you could thresh out the things that are approved and not approved. You have your title and date of plan. Is that the one you're going to be, is that the final, just that one?
Yes.
Okay, so we described that. And then we have the positive determination. So this would be a, let me see here. A positive 3. Right there, the work described on the reference plans and documents is within an area subject to jurisdiction, and the act and will remove, fill, or dredge or alter that area, therefore said work requires filing a notice of intent. So it was number 4. The work described on the reference plans and document is within the buffer zone, which sounds like that's a little more accurate, right? It will alter an area subject to jurisdiction under the act, therefore have to file a notice of intent. The area, number 5, the area and/or work described in the reference plan is subject to review and approval by, this is for the bylaw. And the following areas of work is subject to municipal ordinance, bylaw, but not subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. That's if there's something that's different. Like, for example, an isolated wetland that doesn't qualify as an isolated land subject to flooding. Right? Of course. Brendan knows.
Yep.
Right. So I think it probably could be done in the description, and if not, we could file an addendum to the determination. And then we go down to the negative determination. This would be work in the buffer zone, so it would be negative 3, at which point you can put in conditions. You can add conditions to the negative. And you could say, oh, that's the best way to do it. You file a negative, but only for certain things.
Only for certain tasks.
Right, and you say these other tasks require require notice of intent. That's how you do it.
So it's a positive and a negative determination in one form.
It's a negative saying that, it's a partial negative, I could say. Yeah.
We'll have to work on that.
Good, yeah, good luck.
And this goes aside.
Right, and those other things need to get a positive.
We can readdress those.
Yeah, there you go.
And what about the hot tub?
And, no, that's part of the deck. Is moving the hot tub to the deck.
I mean, if we're going to let them do the deck, I mean, it'd be kind of redundant to hold off on the hot tub
Where's the hot tub now?
off the
It's
side
still
of the
sitting in the
house.
backyard, on the platform. And you had an issue with that being there. So that's why I made it as part of the deck.
Right, that's what I thought. Right.
To move it and get it on, out of the backyard.
Okay.
Some fun right this one up.
So it sounds to me like the motion would be a negative determination, but only for the 2 trees to be removed, the new stairs, and the relocation of the hot tub.
Okay, write that down.
Wouldn't it be a positive determination on those?
That's the negative. Negative's good there.
Negative's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, negative is positive.
Okay.
but only for the
So
2
the 2
trees.
trees, say that again, Mr. Chairman, for the 2 trees,
For the removal of the 2 trees,
Excuse me, it would be the
the new stairs
3 trees, okay.
next to the deck, and the relocation of the hot tub.
Relocation of the stairs?
I don't think it's a relocation of
Oh, it's a
stairs.
rebuilding, right.
Rebuilding of stairs.
Rebuild. Okay, stairs rebuild, and with the hot tub move?
Yes.
Hot-
And
Where's
with
the third
the dock.
Not right now.
Hot move. We got 3 trees.
3, not 2?
Yeah, where was the third tree?
Okay, where's the third?
I only said 2 trees.
Was because that was the one that was, the top is dead, and eventually, at some point, it's going to fall over.
It's on the side. It's on the, I'm standing in the
up here?
backyard, it's on the left. It's one of these 2. Can't tell if it's this one or that one.
I think it's the first, I think it's the first one, yeah, I think it's that one.
It's the third pipe.
Have you seen it, Matt? Would you be
Oh, yeah,
okay
I
with
think
it being
both of
removed?
these could probably go, but I think one's on the other neighbor's property, and that was the problem.
No,
they're
actually,
both on
actually,
ours.
they're all on ours.
I think there's 2 there that could,
So if it's a dead tree, I'm okay with removing it as part of this
Yeah.
negative determination.
there's 2 of them that were
So
pretty bad.
we got the 2 trees next to the stairs, and the 1 dead tree, 19 feet from the water. Rebuilding of the stairs and relocating of the hot tub.
Yep. So that's only, it's going to be a -3. And then everything else requires filing of a notice of intent. You don't really have to get into anything specific, just that all other not mentioned above requires a notice of intent. Okay?
So moved.
So moved. That is a lot. I was trying to keep up and I couldn't.
So how do
We know you tried, Jim.
You know?
Okay,
How do we follow them?
motion's made for a negative determination with
Oh, okay.
those,
2 trees removal.
with the 2 trees being removed, the new stairs, the relocated hot tub, and the removal of the 1 dead tree 19 feet from the water. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Josiah Birch seconds that. All those in favor?
Jim Farr, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
And I did close the public meeting.
Yes, sir. Do we want to then lift the enforcement order? Or what do we want to do with that? Since we're still anticipating the filing of an NOI.
I think we're still anticipating filing, so I
Okay.
think that the enforcement order is still binding.
Well, what's on the enforcement order? Because we're giving them permission to do those couple things, right? I'm just asking.
No, it's a good ask.
Part of it's the dock, so that's part of it.
The dock was part of an enforcement order?
Yeah, and also the construction of stairs on the side of the house.
It's in place still then?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
you.
Appreciate your time. Updates.
Lake Shore.
All right. Updates. Lake Shore Drive enforcement order.
What the hell is that?
It's at the very end.
I had such high hopes for tonight.
You cursed it right from the get-go.
Well, I did
It
say.
wasn't the brownies, though. Brownies day.
Are there still brownies left?
Oh, yeah?
Pass them around.
Good
A little
evening.
sugar high.
I had high hopes,
Oh, yeah.
getting you in earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please finish them.
Sorry.
Matt?
All right. Last time we were here talking about Lake Shore, and we're going to keep this short because it's getting late. There was, had a discussion about the boulders in the pond, and somebody was coming out, some Chrissy Hobbs, was it? Came out to the site from
From Chapter 91 program.
Chapter 91, and we were told that, you know, she didn't care if we put the boulders back in the water, and I should just shut up because I'm not doing very well here.
No, that's right.
That was accurate.
And she was sending an email.
Right.
She sent an
Stating so.
email
She did.
that did not go along with the story that we
Right.
heard the last
Is
meeting.
that what we heard?
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
that an absolutely a Chapter 91 license would be required to take the boulders out. It can be done as a one-time dredging license, but if the Conservation Commission, under the Wetlands Protection Act, wants the stones and boulders put back in part or in full, you have that right, because the Chapter 91 program and the Conservation Commission, under your duties on the Wetlands Protection Act, you are responsible for different things. Chapter 91 focuses on navigation and public access, okay? And Manchog Pond is a great pond of the Commonwealth, so that means that everything below the mean high water mark is public domain, so you would need to get a Chapter 91 license to do any work within that area, right? So they did. So an after-the-fact license would be required. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to allow it, but here's my recommendation. If you do allow the boulders to come out, you can't just
They're already
do that
out.
without, but the thing is, there should be some kind of a legal vehicle which should do that, as in a notice of intent, right? So just saying, oh, yeah, it's okay, Chapter 91 said it's all right, let's just forget the whole thing, wouldn't be fair to anybody else in the town, and it would set a bad precedent. At least requires some kind of filing.
Yeah, so there was back and forth, there was some disagreements about what was said at the meeting between Christy Hobbs from the state and.
So what did she, do you have a copy of the email?
I do. Everyone got it.
Everyone got it?
Yeah, we circulated it to the commission. Hold on, let me check.
So if you want to state your name and get involved in this, please do.
Nice to be here. Glenn Wood, I'm a new environmental counsel for the property owner associated with the second enforcement order, meaning the boulders. I'm at Rubin and Rubman, based in Boston. I know this gentleman well. We taught a course on environmental enforcement under
you can believe
bylaws
it.
at MACC this past March. And we spoke briefly about it, and I had a chance to actually go out and look at the property as well. As a committee, and also with me this evening is Scott Rolfe from OHI on Zoom. He submitted, in compliance with the second enforcement order issued solely to our clients on August 19th, a proposed mitigation plan and site plan that in fact does call for the placement of the majority of the rock that was removed back into the water. And we're prepared to agree to do that. The plan does propose to leave a few boulders, large ones that are just to the north side of the dock in place, which is the largest area where the erosional plume has historically come down the slope. I would note that from my visit, our clients do have a lot of additional large-sized boulders at their property and could, in fact, consider using some of those to possibly replace several boulders that would remain on the north side of the dock. I don't know that we're going to decide that this evening, and I'm not looking for a long discussion either, Mr. Chair, but I'm here to let you know that I'm rolling up my sleeves in this. It's what I've done for 40 years, and I look forward to working with the commission to hopefully get this wrapped up on the...
Take a brownie?
Not yet. But thank you very much. And so, as the commission knows, the work could be accomplished through an enforcement order if it was just solely related to that. Obviously, greater work that might need to be done would have to be, I suppose, a notice of intent. Access would have to be improved to get back down that slope because it's unbelievably rutted out. So some amount of material, I'm told, something in range of like 6 cubic yards, not a lot, to at least level it out to allow machinery to get down there to do some of that work could be accomplished. Our goal is to make this happen after drawdown and get this done this fall. So we're looking to comply with the enforcement order. We all know that there's a hell of a lot of bigger issues out there. There's obviously been a significant positive work by the Goodisons, which I saw, and it isn't an engineered solution designed by an engineer. It addresses some of it. In my view, it surely, in OHI's position, engineering-wise, it surely doesn't address all of the mess that's there and will continue to occur, given that the development on the lettered lots up gradient is almost looks like a quarry yard up there, and the erosion in major storm events that's going to be coming off some of those other properties that are being developed by various developers for various property owners is going to continue to be a major mess. So there are some real issues that I'm just trying to wrap my head around because we literally just got retained last Friday. But I look forward to rolling up my sleeves with the commission, but in particular, relative to the second enforcement order, we do want to get into compliance.
Okay. Through the chair.
Yes, go ahead, Brandon.
And Mr. Benoit and I spoke with Chrissy, and she also mentioned, well, she mentioned that the rocks and boulders that are on the bank, she's not taking jurisdiction over because that's on the bank, and she sees that as being above the mean high water mark. So that's Conservation Commission's jurisdiction solely. She also mentioned that unless the Morans can come up with some kind of documentation for the dock, a Chapter 91 license will be required for that as well.
I can comment on that. In fact, it appears that, in fact, this commission some years ago issued a negative determination of applicability for the dock. I believe to Mr. Cahill, who owned the property before that. So we do anticipate moving to file and obtain a Chapter 91 license for the dock to bring it into compliance. And so that's going to be moving in process as well to get it into compliance.
Okay.
Don't
Great.
dispute that. It needs to be permitted.
All right.
Okay.
And as far as the construction of the turf stone pavers and the granite stairs, we get back to the larger issue of the drainage on Lakeshore Drive. Mr. Goodison, I think he's done a very good job of doing what I call swamp Yankee engineering. He's basically building, a design build and seeing what works. It has taken care of a lot of the problems. At this point, though, there's still that little section of Lakeshore Drive between the Moran's driveway and the area up there, right where you start to go down. Because why build this if there's still a chance that erosion can still happen? You haven't taken care of everything going on in Lakeshore Drive yet. That's the big hang-up at the moment.
I think it's larger than that, to be honest. From my personal view of it, and OHI's from an engineering perspective, we see that the Goodison's efforts are important and good faith efforts and are clearly doing work out there. But what I saw, in addition, was upgrading of that installation on the north side of the private way. There are clearly deep ruts with sediment removed on both sides. So the water is ripping down that road, that private way, carrying material down. I think over time, the Goodison system is going to get clogged up because of all of the sediment. And it's part of the solution, but I think there's needing to be a larger solution that just isn't affiliated with just that small little section. It's a private way under the derelict fee statute. Everyone owns to the middle of it. But since our client only owns about 13, 11, 12 feet of frontage on their lakeshore lot, the majority of that private way area isn't in their entire control. And surely it's not caused by the Goodisons nor by our clients. We're both the Goodisons as well as my clients are the downdrift property owners getting hammered here. And so it, to me, looks like a homeowners association issue, looks like a private developer issue from the start possibly. We're looking into it. I do think on the bigger picture of things, that's under the commission's original EO, and there needs to be a solution to that because my client's property that's in gray right up here, is clearly going to get, continue to get ripped out because, I've seen the videos of it and it's, it's a mini Niagara Falls. And the Goodison's good faith efforts are, in my view, and OHI's are taking care of some of it, but in more major storm events, it's just gonna get re-rutted out, and in my view, on my client's property, it's a private trespass, it's a private nuisance, it's a lawsuit. How that gets accomplished, how that gets fixed, to be determined, but it's on my front burner now. And we'd like to work with the neighbors, we'd like to work with the commission. Surely, in my view, being town council to many Concoms over the years, and being on a Concom for way too long myself, this is one of those few classic situations where a commission, as you did with the original EO, can take enforcement out of that's something out of your buffer zone. And in this case, really far out of your buffer zone because all of the erosion control. So I don't know what the fix is. I'm talking with OHI as we speak. I do a lot of work with them on stormwater programs, SWIP plans, et cetera. So I'm just trying to get more fluent with it. But I think for tonight's meeting, we just wanted to, present that we are in compliance with the second EO and that we've come in with a plan that proposes, that the majority of the rock that was removed would be placed back in. I think that the second EO would likely need to be modified or amended to incorporate and make reference to OHI's plan, both the narrative and the plan. I don't know that that's something that needs to be decided tonight, unless you want to discuss it. I'd be happy to continue to have discussions with your, stellar staff person to figure out how to better work that. I think a lot could be accomplished outside of the public forum as well, just to get this moving and get this work done. Surely the commission does, though, have to, approve it to move ahead, given that, mistakes were made, for sure.
Okay, thanks. We appreciate your looking into it and your time. And we also want to get the enforcement order completed. So, Brandon, where do we stand on that?
On the boulders down in the water?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a question of what is the commission's pleasure on either putting the boulders back or allowing them to stay out? So my recommendation...
For me, it was putting them back.
Okay, so I think you have two routes to take here. If you put them back, I like Attorney Wood's suggestion that you can allow the restoration, putting back the boulders, that is, with a modified enforcement order to make reference to the latest OHI plan and narrative.
Does the latest OHI plan and narrative have the boulders being replaced?
Yes.
It does, okay.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, right. And it also keeps the boulders on the bank.
On the bank. I'm fine with that, too. I don't, other commissioners may have a difference of opinion on that.
Excuse me.
Mr. Chair, one thing, that, so we just want to be honest here about it in what we're proposing, because the OHI plan calls for leaving, and it's called out right on the plan, circled with arrows, what would be, the vast majority would be placed back in. If the commission wanted to supplement that while allowing those 4 or so those boulders to remain as shown on the OHI plan, we could surely modify the plan, and that could be incorporated into the EO as well.
Can we show the OHI plan on there? I mean, I know that's an OHI plan, but I don't see anything on there about where the boulders...
That's the most recent.
That is, okay.
From September 6th revision, that's the one that I received
Right.
most recently.
So the boulders that are up here upslope, these would go back in the water there. And these just to the north of the dock, and these on the south side would remain. That's the proposal. But if the commission felt that that wasn't enough of a rock reinstallation, there is other rock on site that could easily be placed in the water as well, as in-kind mitigation. I don't know. Throwing it out as an idea.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't agree with putting any of the rocks back in there.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, it's disturbing the water, and it's more machinery down there. I mean, they're already there. And didn't the Chapter 91 person say that it was okay to not?
She said it was outside of her jurisdiction.
Well,
In the end, what?
Protection Act.
I was still kind of confused on what she said. She agrees with me,
She
right?
agreed with you.
That just to leave them there.
Yeah, but again, realizing I
Just leave them up, don't put any extra stones from,
I need
I
to
mean,
clarify some things, Mr.
I-
Chairman.
I just want to state that I don't want to remove any of the rocks.
Okay, so good, two good opinions here for discussion, and then I think ultimate vote on it, right?
Correct.
So let democracy prevail, right? Okay. But I want to clarify that the Chapter 91 person, Chrissy, she stated that they can license the removal of the stones and boulders as a one-time dredging license, right? So it won't be what's considered to be maintenance dredging. It's just a one-time dredging thing. And remember, they focus on navigation and public access, okay? So that's what it can be licensed under their program. Under the Wetlands Protection Act, you have 8 public interests to think about. See how good I am. Protection of public and private water supply. I don't think that's applicable here. Flood control. Prevention of pollution. Okay, come on.
It's definitely flood control.
Flood control, wildlife habitat, fisheries, that's a big one here, and storm damage prevention. I was getting there.
Wildlife habitat.
I got that. So the ones I think are probably the most important here from Wetlands Protection Act that Chapter 91 doesn't cover is fisheries. So the boulders do provide what we call structure, habitat under there. Do you think it's important enough to have to put it back for the fish? Or the aquatic invertebrates, like the crayfish and things like that would be covered under fisheries as well. So let the debate begin.
Yeah, I'd like to have other commissioners' thoughts and comments on this. So.
You answered my question, which was why would we put them back? I'm not an advocate of putting them back personally, but you did answer the question.
Okay.
Would the disruption caused by putting them back be more impactful than the potential habitats that, in your
Do you want
professional opinion?
my personal opinion?
Yes.
My personal opinion is no.
It would not be more impactful, so it would be more impactful to have.
Well, I think about it, like, how important is, there's definitely going to be some disturbance involved with putting it back. But what is the value? Is the value of putting them back worth the temporary impact that it's going to have to put them back? In my personal opinion is yes, if you're asking.
So how they will put them back, in my opinion, is they will have an excavator. They'll hook the rock in their excavator, they'll track out there, and they'll set it down. And then they'll back themselves back out in the same track, pick up another rock, bring it down the same way. Very little disturbance because the pond is drawn down, so they're really working on dry soil. And they can, with their excavator bucket, they can reach out 15 feet and put it down. So it's not a big, there's not a lot of disturbance of the ground to do that work. And that's why I have my opinion.
Mr. Chairman, they'd have to go on a sunny day, that's for sure. Because I've gone out there twice, and just like what the attorney said, it's like a waterfall going down there.
Oh, I know.
I think they need those rocks for another reason, And that's why I think we should keep them. And we don't do anything, we don't disturb anything else. And
That's why
and then the whole
propose the hybrid.
And then the whole association, whatever they're called, are going to have to get together and figure out how to stop that. That's not, that's not a town road, so it's not.
That's the big problem here.
It is. I've been waiting to go out there again to go see Mr. Moran, but it's been nice weather.
Yeah, I know.
or just very little bit of rain, I mean, the 2 times I went there, oh my God. I don't know how you live down there. It's awful. Yeah. I got a 4-wheel drive truck. And
yeah,
it's tough time getting up that hill.
Yeah.
So.
So to take Brandon's suggestion, I think we should, do we do a roll call of the,
Well, now you get me involved. But that's,
no.
yeah, so yeah, you should
That's
take
the
a
only,
vote. So.
we got to be
it-
democratic here.
Yeah, it would be somebody making a motion, one way or the other. And that way you'll have something to vote on. No?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to point out that, we do have this hybrid proposal that was submitted, and it accomplishes both issues, I believe. It does allow some amount of rock to stay for stability, but it does put the majority of the rock back in the water that's up in the upland. So it does create that habitat suggestion. I would say, though, that looking at the sandy bottom that exists out there, I somewhat question how much of that rock was even below the surface first exposed. I don't know. I wasn't there. So I don't know how much rock habitat there even was, because it was below the surface, and the contractor that obviously did the work inappropriately, was ripping down into the soil. The majority of this rock could have been below the sediment surface anyways, and therefore wasn't even rocky habitat in the first place.
Right.
That far out.
We don't know.
We don't know. So that's why we've proposed this hybrid, which we think is a good compromise.
Yes, would you?
Yeah, my name's Jim Blaquia, Worcester, Mass. I work for Mr. Goodison. I've been there for 3.5 years. I pretty much know everything about that road and where the water goes and comes from. And as far as the rocks go, I was there when the rocks were taken out. The rocks weren't buried, they were all on top. Machine was down there, as we all know, hauling the rocks out. A dumpster load of rocks left that property. The rocks you see at the water is what they couldn't fit in the dumpster. That's why those rocks are there. Now, Matt, Brandon, you've both been there on rainy days. You've seen how the water went into the culverts. You've seen how the water came from Bob's side down around the bottom driveway and around the driveway, correct?
I have seen water flowing, and I've seen that the drainage system that you have created does have some effectiveness, yes.
Most definitely, I
it does.
agree.
Yeah. That's how far I'll go with that answer.
How about you, Matt?
No stormwater expert, but from what I saw, yeah, the system's definitely working to some degree, for sure.
Right, but you do see how the water comes from Bob's bottom driveway and makes that sweep.
Sure.
Which doesn't come to the culverts because it's on the right side of the road.
Sure.
Now, as far as all the water coming down on both sides of the road, yes, it does. But when it hits the first culvert at the beginning of the road, on the left side of the road, all that water goes into that culvert and out and comes out on the other side under the road, his driveway. As far as any drains clogging up, that can't happen because all them culverts are 20 feet apart and they're open. So if there's ever a problem with anything clogging up, it's easy access and it can be taken care of very simple. But we've never had a problem yet with all the rain that we've had as far as clogging any drains or any ponds that we built for water runoff. So
that assumes Mr. Goodison continues to live there. I always assume the next property owner's moving in tomorrow. So
next property owner moves in, I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Well, that's my point.
I'm like this
There's
with
no
that
legal
road,
certainty.
like all you guys are. But I work for Mr. Goodison, and I'm here to just, speak the peace and really
No,
tell
we
you people how
appreciate,
it is.
I'm sure we've seen the good faith efforts he's made. My point is that that's not legally binding, so therefore it's not particularly long-term, the real world. You have to focus on something that's deed restricted or locked in through a subdivision approval or something, or else it's not, if it isn't legally enforceable, you still have the issue. I mean, in terms of the rock, maybe some of it was on the surface. That's why what we've proposed is a solid hybrid where we're putting some of the rock back in and leaving some portion of it out. So Our request of our client and OHI would be that the enforcement order be amended to approve the OHI plan dated August 19th of this year with the attached plan. That would be our request to this commission.
Sure it's not September 6th?
Well, the report was filed on August 19th. I don't have the date of the plan.
Yeah, we have a most recent revision date of 9/6. There was dated 8/16, but there's one that came in with 9/6. This shows this modified. So that, I think that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on. Right,
That's the
right.
one that's up on the screen.
Right there, so 9/6. Add granite stairs from separately approved drawing, which the Concom already said it was okay.
That's the plan we're requesting the commission approve through a modified EO or amended EO.
There's still the question, though, of modified plan or not necessary at all. We do have a proponent, or don't even bother.
Yep.
I'm a proponent of that too, but we've submitted a plan that we're prepared to live with, if that's what the commission seeks.
Well, as you said, our next step would be to vote on,
Yeah, I think that would be the best way to go about it.
Instead
That
of
way you
doing a roll call.
You have an answer.
so I would, I really can't make the motion, but I mean, I would say that the motion would be to vote on the hybrid plan as presented by the proponent, which the hybrid plan shows putting rocks back in the water and also retaining some rocks outside of the water, right? Some of the existing
You'd
rocks.
leave them all.
Bank edge.
Leaving the rocks on the bank edge, right?
By way of an amended enforcement order. mentioned
By way of an amended enforcement order. So if anyone wants to make that motion,
I'll make it. So I'll make a motion to vote on the hybrid plan and to leave the rocks on the bank. And the way of an enforcement. But
enforcement order.
by the amendment enforcement order.
May I make a suggestion? I think you should consider a window of time within which the work should be done. That's what I would recommend if I was on a commission.
So that's the drawdown period, which is between Columbus Day and Memorial Day.
With advance notice to the commission.
Yep, 48 hours.
well, I mean, they start drawing down maybe Columbus Day, but it's not down until, I don't know when it's going to be down.
You
enough
never
to
know.
be able to do the work.
It depends on the weather. They start drawing it down on Columbus Day.
I would say it should be done at low water levels. Has to be done at low water levels.
Okay.
With probably his prior approval then, to make sure that it's down enough,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So there's no
Upon-
mistakes.
Yep, upon the commission's review of the conditions.
So moved. And I'm just going to say, like, I feel like at least we're making some people happy on both sides. No one's getting, like, 100% of everything they want. So that's my theory. That's all.
Is there a second?
Good luck.
All right, before we vote, Mr. Chairman, Kate is an alternate, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, so,
Oh, sorry. You were supposed to answer that.
I don't know. Is she?
I am.
yeah, I heard that the board is 5 members.
That is correct. So Kate's, because there are, as is full board tonight, Kate's vote does not carry any weight.
is you can tell which way I'm going to vote.
I mean, she can
Well, it
still.
has to be-
No.
The motion has to be seconded.
Yeah, the motion has to
carry
be
begin with.
seconded.
So
Yeah,
somebody,
the motion's out there, right?
so I got a feeling if it doesn't carry, you're probably looking in a good position of making your own motion.
Yeah. So there's no second on that? Okay.
I'll second it.
Oh,
Mike said.
all right. Mike has seconded the vote. All those in favor of the motion?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, nay.
Mike Greco, aye. I think.
Yes.
Josiah Birch, no.
Mark Bonjam, aye.
Okay. So,
The other ones vote before, but those two don't vote now. No, not you, him and him.
No, no.
They're not commission members.
yeah, we're not, Mr. Benoit and I are not commission members, we're staff.
So just the commission members voted. And because we have a full panel tonight, she's considered an alternate, because we
Right.
just have a total of 5.
Right, so
You can only vote when someone's
so the vote was 3-2,
when someone missing.
so the motion passes. Hey, that was a fish shake.
Josiah doesn't think so.
I don't think about it. I don't think so.
I mean, both parties aren't 100% happy, but it's a 50/50, they each, some rocks are going back in.
I just
and
don't
then
get it,
Others,
so,
you know?
So that's why you.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes,
Janice Cahill, Northwest Main Street in Douglas. I'm more concerned as the whole dump truck full of rocks, where did those go? And what happens now when the rest of the people on the lake, which I grew up for 64 years, see somebody putting rocks back into the lake because they took them out? Who's gonna stop everybody else from doing that? They wanna clear their beach out to have a sandy beach, take the rocks out.
well, that's partially why I know I voted to put them back in. So, because I didn't want to have that precedent of people taking them out and being allowed to take them out.
And that's what people are gonna see, and they're gonna think that everybody can do that. If he
Well-
can get away with doing that, then
Well, he's not getting away with it because he's going to be putting them back.
what about the truckload that went out of there?
Well, we can't regulate that. That's, you know,
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, you can, but the thing is that I've been hearing about this truckload of rocks that have left this site, yet I have not seen any documentation to show me that it actually happened. It's just been testimony, right? It has some value, but I have not seen any pictures, video, anything of a dump truck leaving the site with rocks.
I think the.
no, we're not going to start this. No comments on trucks leaving the site with rocks. We're not talking about it tonight.
Thank you for your
It's 10
time.
o'clock.
We'll be back in touch on the bigger issues.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any update on CRG?
It's looking great, Mr.
123 Gilboa? Good?
Yep.
We have no negative news from there. That's great.
Yep.
Open session for topics?
Yes, we do have something. Let me get this. Got a letter from DCR today, or, no. It serves as notice under 301 CMR 51. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting through its DCR, Department of Conservation and Recreation, is under consideration the acquisition of parcel of land in Douglas containing approximately 35 acres. I'm going to put this up on the screen. The reason that this is in front of us is because this has to go before the selectmen, but the selectmen require it to appear in front of the planning board and the Conservation Commission in advance. I'm going to show you this property. The DCR is looking to acquire this property.
Did they say for what, Matt?
Just for conservation purposes for conservation. The property is completely landlocked, and it is I don't even have a road reference for this, because it's in the middle of the forest, but it is,
Wow.
yeah.
It is landlocked, huh?
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. Northwest Maine is here. Yeah, so we don't have to take any votes, it just has to be in front of us just for our viewing pleasure.
If I might comment, I do a lot of walking out in the woods out here, and this is near the Beagle Club property, and there are a lot of parcels out there that are still owned by people that aren't DCR land, but DCR has trails that go into these properties, so that could be partially why they want to purchase it. But also from a historical standpoint, the old Connecticut path ran through this area, which was from 1630. The settlers in Cambridge moved and took this path to get to Hartford, Connecticut, and Windsor, Connecticut. And so it was a Native American path, very historic, and worth saving.
Good to know.
Yeah, so we just need to be aware of it. We don't have to take any votes or anything on it, but
It's not really even in our jurisdiction, is it?
it's just think if we were any sort of opposed, we might say something tonight, but if not,
I'm in favor.
When the DCR purchases land, it becomes state-governed land that nobody can touch, in theory, right?
yeah,
In theory, yeah.
state forest.
Right.
Till 20 years from now when all that changes or whatever, but for the
And-
time being.
Right. And, I mean, you lose it off the tax rolls, too, so, you know.
Simply for advisory notification to the commission before it goes to the Board of Selectmen. That's really it. Otherwise, I think that's it.
All right.
Unless you have mail orders or anything else you need to do.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting,
To adjourn.
adjourn.
Sure. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Jim Farn, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Kirkowski.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.